kind of start to finish on the search.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will. I'll just run over it quickly. I think, to be honest, it's how I got involved really with Nicola. So, as you probably know, Martin Brunt I've known for years. Martin's a great crime reporter for Sky News. And what you got to realise about the media, they're there to do a job. They're there to report. We all read the media, so I'm not going to knock them. They write, some might change the story slightly. We all know that. But that's their job. It sells the newspapers, fine, happy days. Whatever way you are, whether you're left or right, I don't really care. I'm not into politics. I don't ever make...
Shut up. You went on Great Britain News and said that anti-woke people...
political comments on my Twitter feed. I'm not about stabbing people in the back. I don't work like that. I just put pictures of my animals up and stuff and diving. But I got contacted by Martin Brunt from Sky, who was covering the case, and he said, would you mind going on Sky and doing a chat about how to search water, which is normal. It's like during the Thai cave rescue. Those who know me, I've done a lot of caving as a kid since I was 5 years old with my dad. I wrote about it in the book, and it was sort of, I spent my life in disused mines as a kid. So they brought me on to do the Thai cave rescue commentary, which is Sky News, so they know me. And then on the Sunday, I got a call from Emma White. Then I got a call who agreed to put my team up, lovely lady. And I know she's faced a lot of trolling as well, and Paul has. And then I spoke to Paul, and then I spoke to Lancashire Police.
So it was Emma that brought him in the first place after seeing him on the telly. She said that she'd searched him up on the internet, but she searched him on the telly. Maybe she was watching videos on the internet, actually.
They agreed for us to go up. Now, whether they wanted us there or not, that was it. It's come out in the report now that we weren't really wanted there. We were going to be a pain in the butt. But and it's exactly the same what happened years ago with Ellis Downs. We don't want you here. That's fine. And then we arrived on Monday morning. The team arrived on Sunday night. Emma kindly put the lads up in the farmhouse at her farm. I flew up in the helicopter on Monday morning. I'd done a live feed with Mark Williams-Thomas while I was flying up from the air. I flew down the river, got a rough view of the area, and then I landed, and then I spoke to Emma, met the police, and then we got on. But that's when it all kicked off. So that's when I was surrounded by so many photographers and film crews, and I walked through the middle of them at that stage. And I got in the boat, and then the drones flying over our heads. And then I got to the end of the day, and I got out the bank, quick chat with the police officer, and then I was literally, again, surrounded by them. But at not one point did anybody stop to say, Peter, don't talk to the media. I can tell you that now. Can I just have a wee, Luke?
Josh, yeah, go for it.
Hang on, carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good moment for that. At no point did anyone say, don't talk to the media. But then you didn't talk to the police, did you? You just said, I got in, I saw Emma. Like, my team were already there. I flew in my helicopter. I saw Emma. Like, you know, it's like the superstar has landed. I saw Emma, got in over, then they've got the boats, got in my little cabin. The media were there. Everyone was all surrounded. Like, you didn't get in and go to the police, talk to them. They didn't call you in. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, he got in, he saw Emma, he's done it his own way. And at no point did the police tell him not to talk to the media. But on the other hand, at no point did you mention that, like, if you're there, listen. They're asking me whether I'm saying that he basically contrived there was more media presence there because he was there. He wanted all the media there to take all the photographs and do all the stuff, like make the huddle. And like, it's no wonder they surrounded him. They didn't surround him. They were all there waiting. We've got the video. We showed it on the last episode on Super Chuffer, Peter Faulding episode. Right, we've got the video of that, yeah? Peter came out his little cabin, put the gloves on, and they said, who's this guy anyway, this guy? And the media were there saying, who's this guy, Peter Faulding? I don't know who it is, but we've been asked to come here and huddle, so let's huddle. And then he came straight over to the media and talked to them. So, like, he didn't go, you know, like, it's contrived the way he's saying it. We've got the video to prove it. And then, like, you're telling me that you were on the fucking thing, doing a live thing to Mark Williams-Thomas, with Mark Williams-Thomas, when you were flying down in the helicopter, you were talking live to Mark Williams-Thomas, the media, and the media, and that you haven't contrived in any way for there to be any media there to greet you and talk to you. Like Mark Williams-Thomas has said to you, all right, well, you know, good luck with that when you get there. If you see any media, do and don't talk to them on your own decision. Probably make it up your own. And I'm not even the police, so why should I tell you what to do? And the police have not even told you, so do whatever. Like, Mark Williams-Thomas and his friends in the media haven't said, right, Peter's going to be arriving at this time, and then he's going to be out of his car at this time, he's going to put his gloves on, and you can talk to him here. Like, hello? There's just a free-for-all at the river. The media are just all there running around, like, there's like this 10 different people all just running around trying to get a story. Like, have you heard the scoop? What's the scoop? Don't let them see my scoop. And like, you're all running around. No, they're all there in a huddle waiting for Peter to arrive so they can film with him. That's what they're doing when he arrives and they film with him. So it's lucky for the media that they decided to all huddle up and wait for Peter to arrive. The big red van's turned up. Peter's on his way. All right, we'll wait for him then. Like, and if Peter doesn't hear about this, there's a group of media waiting for you. All right, I can't talk to them. I'm just going to go straight in the water and search for Nicola. If anything, I'll just say to them, because I haven't liaised with the police yet, it's inappropriate for me to give you any major statement. I haven't even got in the water, so give me some time and I will talk to you in the future. If you've got any questions about the tech that we're using, which is what he likes to talk about, there's a lot of information on our website. I'm going to be getting in the water now because the important search for Nicola must continue. Thank you. And like, on the way out of the water, you can say, I've got no comment until I've talked to the police and showed them my sonar. But today's search was, like, you know, an arduous task, and I'd just like to say my thoughts are with the family at this time. And I could have just done that. Like,
Talk to the show just help Tom grow a bit more. And here he is, Mr. Faulding.
I'm back. Sorry about that. That was the longest pee I've had for a while, but I needed that. I think
that was pretty quick, to be fair.
No, that was all right. Just a quick wee. I think, yeah, where were we? So we got there, and sadly, there was no control of the media, and I ended up getting things. So we started the first day. Our job by the police was not my preferred preference because I wanted to search the hot zone. They tasked us with searching downriver from the weir down to Cartford Bridge, which I think was about 3.27 miles, if I recall.
so this is Peter Faulding, the red van, 6th of February, turning up on the scene. Yeah.
They're not going to do what they think they're going to do.
What?
Group full.
They did say you're going to get ready for a huddle, didn't they?
They did say we're going to get all huddled. Oh shit, I pressed the wrong fucking button, fuck you. They did say they're going to get all huddled, didn't they? You heard him say.
They're not going to do what they think they're going to do.
What?
Group full.
They did say you're going to get ready for a huddle, didn't they?
I think what I heard them say is this the guy that's going to do the interview then? And I think someone said, what, Group 4, as in Group 4 private security? And then the other person said, well, they did tell us to get into a huddle. And it seems like there's a police person here, like an actual police person here. Is that somebody with a clipboard, like, you know, signing people in and out, like people on the crime scene? Like, have you got a crime scene? No, well, then you can just fuck off and all that business, like Peter's saying. Are these the people that are eggy about him being here? The media are filming it. We are in the viewpoint of the media. There are a group of them, different media people, not just one, like a group of them. And this is the scene as he arrives, isn't it? Like, he's in that little cabin with Emma and Paul, apparently. I think he just said, maybe I got that wrong, but... And then we cut there, it cuts and jumps, but obviously it cuts and jumps. Peter has now come out and he's wearing his full gear. There's a police person next to his van. That hat, that cap, that's police, isn't it? So they look similar, obviously, but you can see this one's a police person.
Is it going to stop and shop?
So who is this guy, the man in behind us in the vocal says? Peter, someone says. Faulding. So it's a group of people and they don't really know who he is necessarily, but some people know who he is. So I'm saying that there are people that are there because Peter Faulding's like media team and Peter Faulding's friends with, and you know, and they've said to the other media, come around and we'll have a big media press conference. Peter Faulding's, and they're like, who is this guy then? Like, but there are some media that have decided, like, they haven't, like, it would be weird if the group of media people decided to just all sit around because they saw a van and, like, you know, there's going to be an interview and they know there's going to be an interview before Peter's got out and talked to them. And some of them know who he is and some of them know who he is. And if it was just a random occurrence, wouldn't it, in a way? Or maybe they just decided, look, here are the vans, let's all get in a huddle, and maybe they'll do an interview.
So you'll be good for 80s pub quiz.
So Peter has come out. Obviously, there was a cut in between, you know, him being in the van, him being out the van. I don't know if there's been any liaison back and forth between these media before. You know, I don't know if it's his first approach to the media, but it's come out.
Morning.
Morning.
Underwater search.
And then it cuts to this, which is an interview with the collected press. So, did he just decide to do this then? Like, he didn't have to. He could have just said morning and walked past. Like, we're now doing what I would call, not a press conference, I suppose, but a media huddle press conference. We're doing a press call in the morning before we get in the boat.
Unit with us, so we got another dive team to back up the police, and we got a really specialist bit of kit, high frequency side scan sonar, which we've got a very high hit rate. I was the first to bring it into the UK in 1999 and sort of pioneered the use of it over here.
Like, he knows the media are here, he knows that there's a media interest, and he's on the fucking telly doing media stuff. Mark Williams-Thomas is his friend, and he was talking to him in the helicopter on the way.
Anything with that, and if Nicola is here, I'm happy that we will find her if she is in the river.
What's your search plan? Obviously,
Shield Police, we're working closely with them, so we're going to be coming down from the weir. And
this is where he was told, you're going to do the lower half first. Like, you know, we've been searching this upper half all week. We don't think she's in this upper half. We do want you to scan the lower half first. Like, that's where he was being told that. And like, so that I've shown you that now. That can go off. But it's been annoying me for quite a little while now that Peter keeps saying that there was, like, he keeps describing that setup and scene slightly differently to the way I've seen it on a video. So maybe that video is different. Maybe that video's off.
Down, the tide had gone out. It was extremely shallow, and the tide was going out, and it was getting lower and lower, and we could see the bottom. I mean, you could see everything on the bottom near enough, and the sonar was actually pulled up, pulled down, and we could see there was nothing there. We got all the way to Cartford, and in the end we got grounded out, and we had to haul the boat up a bank, and we had a few laughs because Chris got his feet stuck in the mud, and it was just awful. And that was the end of the first day, and I went back and I said there's nothing there. There was nothing in that lower part of the river.
Agreed, fair enough.
Again, I could see it. As I drive down as the team drive me down the river, I'm looking at the screen, and it's feeding down in front of me, and I can see every footprint, I can see every rock, I can see every stone.
But he didn't need Peter to tell us this. Like, he doesn't need sonar to tell us this. As they say, it's tidal, you can see everything. And that section of the river had already been, like, whether it had been thoroughly searched or people walking up and down it in the days prior, like, there's been a week's worth of searching. No one really, like, it's that upper bit we all agreed in, like, us, you know, thinking about it at home on the internet. We sort of agreed that she would be probably unlikely to have made it over the weir.
Nothing there. That was clear. Day two, we then...
Day two, which is like day 8 of the, or day 7, or is it 8 or 9? Like, do you know what I mean? Day 2, your day 2, but not day 2. You didn't arrive there on day 1. Don't misrepresent this.
Searching upriver from the bench. Now, I was in...
And again, like, what he's talking about here is, shit, I don't want to be, like, or do I fuck it? What he's talking about here is this day where, can you do me properly? Yeah, this day where, I'll get it for you.
it's 2 times
sorry, this doesn't fit very well. It's just, sorry.
This guy on, I'm in the way a bit. This guy on the left is policeman with clipboard, I believe. And the rest, I think there's policemen with clipboard. I'm not sure about this because, like, everyone's in nondescript clothing, but I think the group at the back are Peter and his team, and I think the couple at the front are like police with clipboard.
What am I trying to...
And they take some shots of them walking around and talking. This is like deciding what they're going to do for the day. You know, he's going to go in, search around by the bench, and this is what's happening this day. And before he does, of course, there's the media. So
area today to search around the sort of entry point where Nicola went in, up and then further up the river to the corner, just to clear that we've eliminated every possible.
And he does a big chat with the media here. And then they get in and do it. Wrong way. You know, it's important for the truth, isn't it? I suppose. Like, and this is him doing it. The island in the background there. But is that the island where he's just searching there? Because this is the day he said he's doing it, and this is the footage. There he goes up past the bench, and there's the island. So, like he said, you know, he saw it. He spotted her. And he's gone up and round a bit more. So there is this footage that exists of it. And then there's the policeman on the side of the bank. There's another police person down there on the bottom right. Police person. Full police clothing. There's police divers. Or other, yeah, these are police divers here. Going in. You don't see exactly all the activities of the police divers. You just see them getting in the water. And now Peter does a press conference.
Go out,
well,
if I'm honest. Any further than that, it's a long way to go from that. I want to rule this section out. This is my hotspot. Obviously, this is the.
And I'm not going to go through this extensively now. We can go through it on another stream. Maybe we should do it pretty soon in case like something bad happens. But I just want to make that clear. Like, you know, we've got an account of what happened on that day that doesn't exactly feel like it matches what Peter's saying here. I'm going to say because like we've already got that account videoed.
Inquisitive, so they wanted us to go up river.
Some of it matches, some of it feels a bit off.
From the bench up to the caravan park. I mean, bearing in mind we probably weren't wanted there. So I said to the team, right, take me down towards the weir. We're going to start. We're going to come up from the bench. Cheers, anyway.
Cheers,
Cheers,
I've only got water.
I've got a whiskey and my second one, but it is late, so I think I deserve a whiskey. So we came up river, and so what we did, we circled around. We put the sonar fish in the water on the corner down towards the weir. Near the weir, it's quite shallow. So then we lower the towfish in the water, and then Bulley then moved around. I said, right, let's keep going. And we didn't start. And then I sort of started the timer at 10:28. We chugged up river about 1.2 knots in speed, 1.2 to 2 knots, slowly up the river towards the bench on the corner where, Nicola's phone was found. And the thing is with sonar, I want to explain to her, I cannot be making any of this up, because everything is time date stamped. It's what they call geolocated. So it shows where the boat is in the UK on the map, here the exact time. It cannot be forged. It cannot be faked. Every file is sequenced. So it's all stored forever. And no one, and all the metadata can be looked at forensically, and you cannot change it. So people have said, oh, he's made this up. No, it's there on a computer. It cannot be changed, and they can analyse anything. So we went up to the bench. We then done a U-turn. So on the way up, I detected some branches on the way up.
But you haven't handed over that stuff to be forensically checked.
And a tree laying down up near the bench. And we done a U-turn. We come back down, and then suddenly, on the way back down, and I can see the track of the boat, boom, massive target, like 2 arms sticking out. Or it could have been 2 legs at the time, and it was a shadows cast. And I said to Ollie, that's her. Straight away, I said to Chris on the back, that's her. Stop, turn me around, Ollie. And then we done another turn on it, and then we done another turn on it. And then you see the boat in the media were there, and then I'm making a call at that stage. I'm WhatsApping, and I'm making a call. 10:50. So I started the search at 10:28 that morning. 6 minutes later at 10:34, I located Nicola. 6 minutes. Okay. Without
6 minutes,
a doubt. 6
yeah.
minutes. 6 minutes.
Thank you, Sarah. Go on, mate.
I sent that to the police search advisor, who was a sergeant, on WhatsApp, which I've got all the records, which again I've provided. There's nothing hidden here. And then 10:27, and then at 10:53 I sent it to him. Then I requested that we put our divers in the water. He said, no, you're not, we'll dive it. So he sent their divers, and they turned just after lunch. I then carried on up the river to steer the emphasis away from the media, so they didn't know what was going on because they didn't put a marker. And then they come back through my dive supervisor. They said, there's nothing there. And I've gone and seen, it can't be nothing because shadows aren't cast for nothing. So I thought, okay, so we carried on upriver doing sonar, and it's all again, it's all time date stamped. So we carried on upriver, and I thought nothing more of it. And I said to Ollie, take me back down the river. I'm not quite happy with this. I really want to re-sonar that area. So we re-sonared that area, and I got the same target again, number of targets.
Yeah.
And I came back, and I went home that night. I said to my wife, "There's something not right here." I said, "I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong on this." So I went.
I just want to say, in this video that we're watching about it, I hope I don't get in trouble for that, because like, obviously, like, it's off the news. Like, fuck copyright, man. Fuck copyright when it comes to the truth. This scene here, is this lunchtime that he's giving this press conference? And does he then go on and search the river more? Because as far as I can see, this is the video of the press making the video of him doing the search on this day that I've got access to, and it doesn't continue. Like, the bit that he says that he goes on and goes up and back and says, "Chris, I want to get a second shot of this," and like, you know, that, like, I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I'm saying that he does the press conference in this, and then it cuts to the police and stuff. It doesn't have him further up the river later that day. I haven't got the video of that, so maybe it does exist, or maybe, like, you know. And then he's saying that he did a second run. So do we have two images of Nicola Bulley on this? Like, do we have the second run image as well as the first run image? Like, that would be two separate sets of data, and that would corroborate it even better, wouldn't it? Because it's not just I saw her once and here's a picture and they dived it and they said nothing. It's I saw it once, they dived it, and then I went back and checked it and it's still there. And it even looks even more clear on this other image from the other angle or whatever. Like, it seems weird that we're not doing that. But yeah.
Back the following morning and said, "Sorry, I want to research that area, and I want to put divers into the weir and search it." "No, you're not doing that. We want you to go down the river today." And we looked at the river.
Wait, did he not do that second search?
I said,
then?
"I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong on this." Number of targets. And I came back, and I went home that night. I said to my wife, "There's something not right here." I said, "I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong on this." So I carried on upriver, and I thought nothing more of it. And I said to Ollie, "Take me back down the river. I'm not quite happy with this. I really want to re-sonar that area." So we re-sonared that area, and I got the same target again.
Yeah, definitely. He's got the same target twice. So he's not got one image, he's got two. And these images should look different because you're going down again. Like, are you going back down in the same route, same pattern? Do they look very similar? Or are you going back up the other way? Do they look opposite? You know, because you were scanning it. Are there any differences or similarities between the two images? Are they exactly the same? Like, obviously they're all date stamped, time stamped, etc. But I'd like to, like, again, now we're throwing another, like, I didn't know that at this late stage in this whole thing, because he said, I scanned it, I got a hit, the police went in. Like, I was aware he said he'd rescanned it, but now I'm 100% certain that Peter is saying that he's got not just the one pass on the sonar, but the second pass on the sonar as well.
Number of targets. And I came back, and I went home that night. I said to my wife, "There's something not right here." I said, "I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong on this." So I went back the following morning and said, "Sorry, I want to research that area, and I want to put divers into the weir and search it." "No, you're not doing that. We want you to go down the river today." And we looked at the river, and we couldn't go down the river because the river was too shallow because the tide had gone out. So that was impossible. You could see the bottom, to be honest. So that made me a bit angry. It was just the way I was being treated. And then the family turned up. And I'm not going to name who turned up. Paul was there, but there was others, obviously sister and everyone.
Apparently the sister and everyone. So I'm not going to name who turned up, but the family turned up. Paul was there. The sister and everyone can only mean Dot and Ernie, or the children, or both. Bit weird. Like, probably the children, because you're not going to mention them. Otherwise, Dot and Ernie you might mention.
And we in the back of our command unit, and they
all in the little caravan. Yeah.
We were pleading with something to be done. Paul was really bothered about them not searching the outbuildings in the village. He wanted the sheds searched. He was literally in tears. And I know he won't mind me telling you this. And he said, I'm very frustrated. And he said, we can't search without a warrant. And that's when I said, those who didn't hear earlier, of course you can. You just need to ask. Just go and knock on the door.
But that really endears you to the police. Just go and knock on doors. Like, because obviously people who don't want you to come on, I was going to say this earlier, but I let it ride earlier, but people who don't want you to come on their property are now suspects. But that's ridiculous. I'll tell you why it's ridiculous. It's because a lot of people won't want randomers to go and search their sheds. Like, if it's the police themselves in uniform going door to door and searching every garden shed in the area, it's going to take quite a lot of manpower, women power, person power. It's going to take a lot of hours, isn't it, to go and search all the sheds. And anyone who doesn't want you to goes on the suspect list. Like, could you imagine the police turn up at your door? Like, because it's going to take a while. They might turn up now. Let's say it's like late at night, or not midnight like it nearly is now, but you know, they turn up at your door, knock knock, hi, we've got a missing person in the area and I wondered if we could search your shed. I'd be like, all right, wait there, I'll go and check in the shed. And then I'll go and check in the shed and come back. They're not going to go in my shed. I'm not having the police walk through the house with their muddy boots and the dog and, like, you know, things like the police coming in the house and going through. I'm smoking chuffos, but do you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to want the police to come and disturb their evening so they can go in their shed or their date. It's got to be the evening, because what if people aren't in? They can't go on the suspect list because they're not in. So in the evenings, the police are going to go door to door checking everyone's shed. You might as well just put a thing out instead of this. Put a thing out. Can everyone in the area check their sheds and outbuildings? We are missing a person. Oh, they've already done that, haven't they? They've already done that. Can everyone check, see if that, you know, that would happen last week, didn't it, Peter? That happened the week before. So Paul's desperate for people to check their sheds, but like she's not a fucking missing cat. Like, and I don't think the police overstepping their bounds and knocking on the door of properties in the area. Also, what if they knock on some properties and not others? You've got to be very equal opportunities about that whole thing, can't you? You can't just be like, right, we think we'll start with the fucking down here where the rough people live, and like, can we check your shed, you scruffy bastard? Like, no, it's got to be like, can we check everyone's shed? And like, everyone's getting their shed checked. Don't start me. You've already started me. I'm going to stop now. I think it's a ridiculous, facile idea that the police would listen to Peter Faulding and Paul Ansell, who's crying, and just start, right, put down today's gold level operational search instructions. We're at silver level here with the liaison between Paul and the, you know, probably silver level here. And then we're going to say, right, I will enact your idea about searching the sheds right now. Right, I'll pass it. Imagine they said just something like, oh, that's an idea, I'll pass it along, or we're probably not going to be doing that because we don't have warrants. You know, they're illegal. It makes me feel like, as a police force, you would be frustrated with these people telling you how and what to do. I know that there were questions and people wanted more done lots of different ways. You know, we wanted to find Nicola, but the more I'm learning through the inquest, I know, Scott's stupid because he's listening to the police and what they say in the inquest, but the more I'm learning is that actually the police did a reasonable amount of thorough investigation and searches into what appeared to be a missing person, like, that most probably had gone in the river. Like, I think they did a reasonable amount, to be honest. I've got to finish off the COP report and stuff, and obviously I've been critical of the police because, you know, I think we should have found out what happened to Nicola. But what Peter's saying doesn't add up either.
We've done it so many times working with the police, you know, like the
caravan site was apparently searched, but like the validity of that, you know, the level of search, it was in the early days that it was searched. And like, bear in mind, we all come into this about 3 to 5 days late, don't we? The media didn't push it up into the agenda until day 3 at least. So like, we're all a little bit late. I think in the early days, the initial search focused on the river and surrounding areas, and I think the caravan site was searched. Can't state that it was forensically searched in and out of every caravan, but the police walked around it a few times for guarantee, because I've got that on video, I've seen it. I mean, like, there's a difference as well, like, you know, crime scene, searching, forensics, missing person, like, there is a limit to how, like, you might, how do I explain this? Like the Madeleine McCann thing, yeah? They weren't going to search for everyone's hotel room in all of the fucking hotels in the area, were they? Like, they probably did a door-to-door knock and a, you know, have you seen and stuff like that, but they're not going to say, can we come in your house and search for your shed? Everyone. Like, maybe they did, or maybe that's normal, maybe I'm tripping. And then, like Peter suggests, the people that don't want you to search their sheds, they might be guilty.
Faulding case in Wales when I was.
Andrew Stars of Wolf, yeah, on the first day they put in the fire brigade. It was a bit late, like, you know, in terms of finding a live person. Of course, there was all this farrago with the phone and the dog and all that. But on the first day, the fire brigade went in, yeah, and they went in at the point of where they thought she'd gone in at the bench. So yes, fire brigade search and rescue with thermal cameras and chugging along with the boats.
Worked on that, you know, you just go and knock on.
Was it
doors and people
divers
let
as
you-
well though? Divers, I don't know. I can't vouch for that right now. Actually, divers first day. I think so. I know fire and rescue went in first on the boat, and I know I've seen that. Like, you know, I can see what I've seen with my eyes. You know what I mean?
Win. Most right-thinking people, great British public, will go, but certainly let the police in, you know, and we'll assist you. And of course, you can search my shed. You know, no problem.
Yeah, but most normal people might think that. Normally, of course, you can. Like, in theory, the police can go in my shed all they fucking want. You know, I could have police in my shed right now. I don't care. But the point I'm making is that most normal people won't want the disruption to their lives or the faffing about of having the police go and look in their shed. Like, there's quite a lot of, let's say there's at least 30% of people who would decline the offer of having the police look in their shed on the chance Nicola Bulley's hiding in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would think most people would say, I'll check my own shed. I've looked in it yesterday. I was in there today getting the Christmas lights out. Fuck off. Like, you can't put me on the crime list because I'm fucking don't want you in my shed.
At all. A load of old junk in there, but we got nothing to hide. The first person who said, no, you can't search my shed, then you go and get a warrant for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the police come to my house, right? Nicola Bulley's missing. We want to come and look in your shed. And I say, sorry, I'm busy right now on a live stream. You can't come in my shed. I was in there earlier and there was Christmas lights and spiders. I've got the Christmas lights out. I've put them up. So there's nothing in my shed. Thanks very much, but no thanks. Bye. And I sit down here and do my live stream. And later on, the SWAT team come through. Smash, we're in your shed, mate. Let me in your shed. Yeah, says Luke. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my human rights don't matter a shit. Pound my face with your boots. Like, no, the police have got no cause to look in my shed, and a missing persons investigation should not give them a warrant to look in my shed. Okay, unless I'm a suspect in said missing persons investigation, unless Nicola Bulley was seen coming in my house asking to borrow my fucking lawnmower, I don't think we need to look in my shed.
Paul was pleading with him. Anyway, that didn't happen. And then he said, I want to do a press conference. I want you to update the media. I want your senior people down. And then I said, I need your senior. And that's when they accused me in the report that not the College of Police, and I want to make this clear, but Lancashire Police accused me of trying to get a photo opportunity, as if I hadn't have had enough photo. I'm not George Clooney. Do you know what I mean? No photo opportunities here. All I want, I say, look at my social media feeds. There is no photo opportunities on there. I don't do selfies.
Social media feeds are contrived by you to make you look good, and they're pictures of you with animals and you on dive searches, like you said. That's a contrivance, your social media feeds. Look on there, I'm this. Like, what do you want about?
I don't want to do selfies.
It's not about selfies. So, but all this media coverage that we were just showing, like all you in the boats doing the interviews and all that, why didn't you just fucking get on with the job and not talk to the media? Like, of course, you said yourself earlier today, Peter Faulding, that what the media want is a photograph of you, an explanation of the sonar, and a video of you going down the thing in the boat, and then they can go back and have their cup of tea. And you provide them with the visual narrative for the story that they're going to tell about Nicola Bulley on the news. So you provide them with that and you help them do that, and they, you know, scratch. I don't know what back scratching you get out of that. You don't need it. You don't want it. You're not interested. Get fucked. You're selling a book and you're on the telly talking to Mark Williams-Thomas and you're on Great Britain News, and like it's all kind of ended up like this. But you can't fucking tell me that I don't want publicity. I'm not interested in a selfie. No PR for me. Thank you very much. In a fucking contrived media contrivance on someone's YouTube that you can basically use as a mouthpiece because they're naive enough to just like let you sit and do this. Like, it's bizarre.
You don't want to be photographed myself, and it was the misleading statements again. Wasn't happening, and in the end, he said, "We'll come back to you." The sergeant then went away on annual leave, and that was recorded. And he never came back to me, and no senior officer turned up. It was a disaster. No press office, nothing. And by this time, this is why there's nothing to do with me. They blamed me in the report, but the speculation was increasing because the police did not brief the public.
Nothing to do with you though, who went, like, again, This is a video called Peter Faulding, I Don't Want to Speculate, made by a really, from what I can see, I subscribed to them the other day, and Matthew McNicholas is pretty cool.
Drag all the resources down to the river's edge, and I'd be looking at that very clearly, how it's got there in the first place.
None of this rings right to me. My belief is she's not in the river at all.
The shoe was laid by the river by the murderer to detract the search from that area, and she was actually found in a haystack miles away.
And like, this video is like 13 minutes of him speculating and speculating and speculating. It's called I Don't Want to Speculate, and he's been doing it today. Oops. He's been doing it today, hasn't he? Like, speculating. Like,
what was going on? There should have been a daily or every 2-day press conference. You say in 2 days we will update the. All
says media, the PR expert.
It needed.
Sorry, says Peter, the media and PR expert.
Was a quick briefing to say, sorry, we're still searching. We got people in the water. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're doing all we can. That's all it needs. And the public go, well done, Lancashire Police. Great job. You're
Fair
trying.
enough.
That's all it needed.
I mean, that's a cognitive point. So what, you filled in that void for them and just did it out of the kindness of your heart?
But don't kick the little guy, because I was the little guy, and I was the easy target to be blamed for this whole debacle.
Really?
And that was
David and Goliath.
It was David and Goliath.
No, it's ridiculous. I haven't finished the COP report, so I've got to be careful what I say. But whether you get thrown under the bus or not is irrelevant as to whether Nicola Bulley got found or not. It doesn't. They can't say Peter Faulding didn't find her, so we're good and Peter's bad and we're the good police. Like, they'd already done 8 days of searching. They've already got their own questions to answer for. Like, you come up because you aren't involved, and you come up, and when you are judged by the COP report, it is not kindly, and that's your own problem. But Lancashire Police and their problems with the, their procedure, they're not absolved because you are also shit. That doesn't make them better. It hasn't cut, like, there's been a brief moment where you are the focus of the press coverage because you got thrown under the bus, but it doesn't mean that the COP report becomes null and void and like Peter is bad and the police are good, and it is that. Like, but you're making it that because it's in your interest to do so.
It still is. And then obviously the case went from there. We left the scene, and in the report it said Mr. Faulding continued to search on the 9th. Actually, we'd already left. We left on the morning of the 9th. We weren't searching. We went. Okay. So the report was wrong. We weren't searching on the 9th. They said they sent an officer down to brief me about my media hand. No, they didn't. He didn't. He just said, "How we treated you." That's all he said. And this is all.
Okay, well, there was an officer that got sent down. Whether the conversation was to your satisfaction or not, there at least there was the officer. He'd left by the 9th. Is that something I can confirm or not? This is a video from the 8th, so he was there on the 8th, yeah, as he said, we've got that. And then on the 9th, no, he may have left. I mean, that might be one point that they say he continued to search on the 9th and he'd left. That maybe yes/no, I don't know. Like, can I confirm or deny that? I don't know what he was doing on the 9th necessarily. If I can't, like, if he's not there, then I can't confirm he's there, can I? I can't confirm he's not there. Like, it's like proving a negative. In a way, but I think what have I got there? This other article was published on the 13th. Like, this is interesting that this news article was published on the 13th, and it says Nicola Bulley search expert hunts for burial sites as cop makes worst mistake. A forensic expert combed the river, rejoined the search, and he's now focusing on deposition sites near the spot she went missing. So he rejoined the search either on the 13th or before the 13th. There's not so many days between that, is there? Rejoining the search. That's an interesting, strange thing. So officially now, at the end, after all of this, Peter is able to say that he left, but he wasn't officially searching on the 9th because he'd left, but on the 13th he had rejoined the search. It all gets a little bit,
recorded the police meeting. So lots of inaccuracies within the in the report, and me about digging holes. That was told. I showed you the pictures earlier.
One inaccuracy in the report that you're saying is inaccurate because you'd left, but you were there on the morning and you left that day. So you were there that day, but then you left that day. So no searching was done by you officially. Therefore, the report is wrong. But
And I'll show you again because I really want to just explain this.
Well, there might be somebody. There's probably. Let me just say quickly. I just want to thank Paula for a super chat. If I can't read them, I do want to thank you for them. So thank you to Paula. Have seen it.
They blame me for digging holes, and there's been a few trolls. So Faulding just went out and dug holes in the river. This is an area that I identified. Now you may look at that. Can you see that? Look,
we've done this.
Keep it as it is. Yeah, we can see that.
Right, you may look at that as a tree stump. I look at that something's out of place because of all that undergrowth in front of it. That pluff what shouldn't really be there. Now, normally they would say thank you for that, Peter. What we'll do, get the area taped off, and I say there is a thing called technical, which I'm not going to go into, and they should have told me if that was the particular situation. Again, the senior officer who advised me on this, he said this was an inquiry into Lancashire Police's handling of the case. It was not about Peter Faulding, and a lot of the focus is about. It's so easy to target a little man, but I'll tell you now, and I'm not being arrogant here. I've got far more experience in search than anyone on that case.
Like, it's annoying me here because I haven't finished the full go through of the COP report, but I agree the report is into the police and not into Peter Faulding. However, his presence is covered in the report, and the report does not exclusively cover Peter Faulding. It covers a lot of the police. From what I've seen, he hasn't even come up in it, and I've done 2-3 hours. I've done like 6 hours on it, and he hasn't come up in it yet. Like, he's been mentioned once as someone that they talk to. So he's going to be in the report, but he's not the prime focus of it. The bit that he's unhappy about is the bit about him. But if you take it out, the report still stands as a report. It's not like, oh, the report's fallen apart, there's no Peter Faulding anymore to scapegoat. It's not that. It's just that the bit about him, they make him look bad. And it's whether they make him look bad or he is bad is up to public opinion, I suppose, now. Peter's going to say, because, like, the court of, I suppose, like, the actual court have struck him off the thing.
Anyone on that case.
Not the actual King's Court. I don't know who struck him off, but you know what I mean. Like, the official line is that he's no good, and the media have been briefed in private by the police to show them the evidence that Peter Faulding has said he's shown the police. Remember, the police showed some shadows or something to them. Well, you said it was shadow. Like, so the press have seen whatever it is and decided not to take him up on his offer, I assume, of talking about this to get it out to as many people as possible to share the truth. But Luke has, I think. Is that what's going on? Sky News did a little bit with you as well. Luke said his interview was exclusive, but you also said on Sky News that you'd seen her on the radar, didn't you? So there was that. I mean, I'm a bit confused about his relationship with the press now as well, about like what he's saying about them and about their collusion with the police and about his position on the press and whether he will be continued to be used as expert for people like Great Britain News, other places like that. I mean, Great Britain News is also political, and he's on the Mark Williams like friend team political. Like, as much as he says he's not, he's on the anti-woke agenda on Great Britain News, so like he might fit in there. I don't know, but the mainstream don't seem to want him, I think.
Far more searches than any of them people, and I've got far more experience than any of them. You know,
respect.
You know, I'm not going to wear that. I'm not going to wear them hammering me for my lack of experience. So I got a message. Yeah.
Well, just one moment. Just want to thank Bossa Nova Baby, Paula. Sorry, not Paula. Paul Taylor and Lizzie Bell for their super chats. I do see them. As you know, I can't be. There's a lot going on. I can't be reading them all. I do appreciate them. I appreciate all the likes. We've had 1,054. Yep. Which is quite a lot. There's 1,454 people in here. Wow. I heard the turkey. I'm sure a few people thought they heard a turkey then, but maybe it's a bit late for the turkey.
No, you didn't hear a turkey now.
We hit 1,000 when we were doing the Nicola Bulley stuff, so I get it, but fucking hell.
I think that sort of wraps. You know, I think there's no. All I'm going to say is it would be nice if Lancashire Police acknowledged that they got it wrong. But the Police and Crime Commissioner, Mr. Snowden, come out on the report the other day and started the police inquiry with Andy Marsh from who was ex-Avon and Somerset Police, who I met years ago, rabbiting on as how well they did. And I'm thinking, mate, and I'm not knocking the detectives here, because there was probably thousands of hours of great work done by detectives. I'm not knocking that, but please don't hammer the little man. Literally, don't hammer him into the ground, because just trying to help. That's the sad thing about this case. They've literally picked on me. Now, I hope, Chief Constable, you're going to watch this tonight and go, this guy's actually a decent man. Why have we hammered him? Why have we not actually admitted, then gone, maybe we got this a bit wrong here and there?
So take Peter's word for it. He's a decent man. The police all don't like him. And the people who did the report don't well, they don't have a personal vendetta, but they hammered him apparently, and we are to be on Peter's side. Like, the reports about Nicola Bulley and the truth of what happened to her, and we've got way off that now. Now we're on, like, Peter equals good. Like, let's prove Peter good. And Luke is, like, Peter's cheerleader. It's fucking weird.
But Mr. Snowden comes out gleaming. This was the first-class inquiry, the first-class search. No, it wasn't a first-class search because you missed her.
Well, you fucking missed her, but you said you didn't miss her now.
Yeah.
That's the fact. And I've got the images. The beauty of it, I've got the images. And I will show, like I said, I am writing to the Home Secretary with this in the new year, and we will get this opened. And then eventually, I don't want public inquiries, but we want to acknowledge that actually I was not wrong. I was right.
It's going to be, when he says we're going to get this open, Home Secretary and stuff, it's legal, isn't it? It's legal to acknowledge that he was wrong and not right to publicly, because it could be considered libel or slander that could defame for his business. So he might be doing them for defamation, like in some way, or some sort of legal aspect of it, that if he's got the proof that there was a body in the river and he's saying there was, and they're saying that he said he wasn't, and all this business, that legally he's got the proof, and now he can go back on the register and he can be considered a good guy legally, maybe. Like, I think it feels legal to me, that what he's going to be doing with the Home Office. And he doesn't want a public inquiry. What? You know, I mean, we've had the public inquiry, but you don't want the public involved in this aspect of it. I suppose, again, we don't want the public seeing the sonar, is what it's boiling down to. It feels weird that we couldn't... You said that 98% of people would agree that it's a fucking body, so I don't know why... Like, because the children might end up seeing it, I suppose. It has to always be kept secret.
We all need to move forward rather than bicker at each other.
The beauty of it, he said the beauty of it.
We're not achieving nothing.
I'll look back on this.
Well said.
Yeah, I think you know what will happen. What will happen this year is during the summer, more people will go missing in rivers, and what will happen? SGI, the police won't be able to find them. SGI will get called. We will go to assist families, because once they've been missing
I thought you'd been struck off this thing. Are you still going and doing it then?
days. Unfortunately, the police don't have control of the operation. If rivers are public, we can search a river, but
even if you've been struck off the thing.
We don't want to fall out with the police. We just want to assist the families.
And what about your private work where you do search and rescue? Or is that never private? You never get paid for that? I thought you were doing it for all these other police forces. I want to know about that. I want to know how the balance of your financial interests lays with the work that you do and this legal action you're going to take with the Home Office to be proved right and this sort of stuff. It's quite important, really, isn't it? Like, follow the money sort of thing. Like, and even then, how important is it to finding Nicola? Not particularly, unless you're trying to cloud the truth for your own benefit, in which case, bad, because we're trying to find the truth for Nicola.
The police in harmony and go, SGI, thanks very much for coming in. Now, the police report thanks the volunteer search teams. They never thank me. They just criticise me, my team. And you've got the top team in the country here,
Well, I know that. Listen, I know that on the surface, people are going to say the police throwing him under the bus and the police are bad. But do you know, there is something to be said for the fact that the police and the report. I know the police report is political as well, but there is something to be said for the fact that they are not speaking out in favour of and defending this great man who's such a lovely man and a great man. And that's either because they're all evil, or like the 2%, as he said, this 2%, the 99% are good people, and the 2% are the ones with the ego problems. But they seem to be the ones that he's coming up against every time, because the majority of them in this stuff won't speak up. And for like, no one is speaking up for Peter Faulding here, and he's a really good, really honest, really decent guy. So why is no one speaking up for Peter Faulding? It's left to the public and to Luke and the public to do that with their super chats. I mean, what?
Yeah, and we get criticised. That's sad. Why?
Hopefully things can change with how search is done in the future.
Well,
Hopefully
it should be. It should be. And I think that's all we want from this is to improve the search. And there was if the viewers Google the Kylie Rodney search, this was another one in America.
Someone in chat said that,
where the police spent hundreds of hours searching a reservoir for a missing girl in a car. They couldn't find her. And a volunteer rescue team come in called Adventures with Purpose. You see it. I don't know these guys. I want to make it very clear. And they came in and they found her still in the car, only like 50 metres from the bank, with their sonar. and everybody else missed them. But the police over there acknowledged, the beauty of the police over there, they acknowledged that the search team found her. Over here, they hammer you because they can't be seen to be wrong. How wrong is that?
Yeah.
Why can't we just admit our failings and go...
So now you're saying that you found her and the police covered it up and hammered you because they didn't want to be seen to be wrong? That their egos, this is the point that he's made then, is that their egos are so great, and then we're talking about the dive teams, the search teams, they would rather conduct an extensive, I mean, how many days after? How many days after? I mean, or you could say, well, they were just going to let us float to the top and they didn't conduct an extensive search, but like they would rather let it go on for another however many days and weeks until she floats up and a member of the public find her than just admit that they were wrong. And they would rather leave her in there, having dived it, well, not well enough to even check, but dived it, leave her in there and risk a member of the public, a dog walker, like, you know, like a YouTuber going in and finding her. And then that's why the dispersal order was put in the next day and the days later, is because if we put in a dispersal order and we put in like the, you know, no one can go near the river, then we just wait and she will come to float up. I mean, that's a narrative. It is a narrative. I can almost like understand it. No, I can understand the police saying like, we don't have to do all this searching. She will just come to the top and float. If everyone could just calm down and fucking stop looking, in about a week's time, she'll float up. And then, like, as long as no one's there to sort of accidentally find her, we're on top of that and it's job done. Like, but I mean, that's pretty gruesome, isn't it? And that's basically Peter's line here, is that the police knew she was there. I told them she was there, and they were so eggy that I found her in the first place that they decided not to tell anyone, so that they didn't have to have the egg on their face that Peter found her. Wow. Whereas in America, the police didn't do that. They just said, thanks very much. I mean, you would think, my guess would be that the police would, like, even with egg on their face, say, thanks very much. And then your duty to the police that you're keeping the silence would be invalid because they, at the time, denied it. And you thought, well, that's weird. I just said to my wife, well, that's weird. But like at the time they denied it, wouldn't you be instantly on your egg about that? Hang on, these are the ego people denying it, and I've got the truth. And then what about Paul Ansell? Is that why, did you tell him? And did you bring him down to the river to say, I think she really is there, Paul, and I've searched it and there's a body in there, and they've dived it and they haven't pulled her out. So if you look down there now, in this quite clear water, you can see just her leg poking out, and that's her. So sorry to tell you, Paul, but that's it. And then we're going to have to carry on pretending there's going to be a search for a few weeks until she floats up. But that's what's going to happen. Like he would know at that point. Like he'd have that in his brain. He's not. Is he slow? Like if he's certain that she's in there and the police are denying it, then how long does it take to jump to the conclusion that we're going to have to wait for her to float up? And then how did he even get on the fucking scene to do the second pass the days later? Was it a second pass days later? I'm getting confused. I need to write it down. Should have been taking notes. What?
Maybe, that's what I was hoping the College of Policing would come out and say when I read the letter to you, Al. And I, you know, I read it out earlier. Quite a sad letter that you just admit your failings, and the public. And I think let's have a hand.
Like, the problem here is, right, look at it this way. Number one, the police were wrong. They missed her, and he found, like the way he's saying it. Yeah, and he's been thrown under the bus. Poor Peter, right? That's one, you know, he's saying it. Look at the other way, though, right? Is that he also didn't find her. Let's say he didn't find her on the day and he wasn't sure it was this, and he mentioned it and he was accepting of the police report that they dived it. He also looks stupid now because she floated up, and he went up and down with his sonar, so he also looks stupid. So now it's a race for someone to like get the egg off their face, and the police can't do fuck all about it. Like they're like, we recovered her, she floated up, we've not got really egg on our face, we're happy, we're just going to move on, I suppose. We've done the inquest. And he's like, well, I've still got egg on my face here, so like, I didn't find it her. Like, oh wait, I did find it her. And then like, egg not on my face but on the police's face, and especially if you're doing a report on me, you fuckers, right, egg right on your face. Like, it's like egg throwing and egg faces, and it doesn't help us find Nicola, and I don't really know about the truth. What I'd really like to do is just see your fucking sonar Like, just video the screen record, play the stuff that you've got, record it as a video, upload it, leak it on the internet, put it on Live Leak, where like or Live Leak doesn't exist anymore, does it? But leak it yourself on somewhere like whatever, like not, you don't have to put it on YouTube so that like her kids see it, but put it somewhere on the on the fringes where the committed see it and the people that go there see it, and like the people that don't really and shouldn't don't. And then like like how the news reports end up with the censored images, somewhere that's uploaded on the internet slightly more uncensored, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, leak it somewhere and let us see it. Like, the public need to know, but you don't care. You're going to hold on to it and go to Richie Sunak with it or something to clear your name. And I don't know how it all works out for Nicola, really.
Hands up for this if you agree that if you admit your failings, the public's faith in the police will be restored.
Because for the Nicola Bulley case, aside from the public's faith in the police and in you and all this business, for the Nicola Bulley case, people want to know, they've got questions. So if you've got sonar of her and what you think is her, and then you've also got extensive sonar of you searching the rest of the river on different times and days, we'd quite like to be able to piece that together as a timeline of sonar, because you'd be able to say she was here at this point and she ended up here at this point, and we've got these sonars that fill in the gaps. Was she in those at any point? Did she move? And you've got all these other questions around it. His certainty that she's in there and the police's certainty that she wasn't the week before opens up the question of, did someone put her in the day before your search or the day of your search so that you would then find her? Like, did someone set you up to find her, or were you just lucky? Like, it opens up these questions, doesn't it? So seeing the full and intensive evidence would be good. I'm sorry, I'm just a person at home wanting the truth, and maybe I don't get to see the full and extensive evidence, but you know what I mean?
Lots. If we just admit things and say maybe we got it wrong. Let's see in this chat now. Yeah, let's see. I mean, who agrees with that? I mean, I think people will go, yeah, let's admit our failings sometimes, and then it can come out and we can get it right.
Yeah, but you've got to prove the failings, or like have proved the failings. And what we've actually done, Peter, is they've checked what you've done and said, no, we agree with the police. They dived it. The sonar people said it's not probably likely, like it's less likely to be a body than, like it's less, what was it? The percentage of certainty was like 30%, like low certainty. And like, they've done that check.
Peter, I think that we've done, it's 193 minutes, which is crazy. Probably the longest live I've ever done.
Yeah.
Is there any
How are you measuring it in minutes?
Final you want to say? Because obviously, like this, you don't want this to consume your life forever.
No, I don't.
Is there any final statement you want to say to people here now?
I just want Lancashire Police to ring me and say, look, Peter, write to me and say, can we have a meeting? We want to bury the hatchet here. And, I want some recognition as to what I did, rather than just be hammered for failing in a search.
Yeah, but you want that recognition from the police or the public. Like, you've already seemed to have it from the public. Like, you could just do a poll and find out how many people think you did a good job. But like, it's the police you want the recognition from, and also you want to take it to the Home Office to sort of legally prove that you were right for some reason, which I think might be something to do with your like business interests in this job. And then you've got all this other politics that it's thrown up now about, should the divers be doing the police's job and replacing the police, or should the police be given the resources to do the diving job better? And what's going on there, because you have already replaced the police in quite a lot of areas doing that job. You're halfway along that process, and none of that, like, you can have your final say on it, but you're very, very heavily invested in one facet of it, I suppose. And it doesn't all come out. This hasn't all ironed everything out. It's thrown up a lot of other questions, and there were other questions that I didn't even hear asked. Like, I would love to have heard something about the protester background and the Huntington Knife Sciences, but we'd probably never get it.
Technically, I took the blame for failing in the search, and I didn't, because I found Nicola. I've got the images, and eventually I'm going to go and have to do a press conference in a closed room with the media to say, I'm still being blamed. I'm not going to wear this anymore, with the experts say, here she is. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that.
Why don't you just fucking do it? What do you mean I don't want to do it? Just do it now. Why don't you just do it now? Why haven't you already done it? And like, how would the response be? Like, what you're then expecting is that the media themselves would write reports that say, I have been in a room with Peter Faulding and seen images that prove conclusively that Nicola Bulley was on that riverbed or as close to us. And as though I can't show you them, we're writing this story to confirm it in all the different media outlets. And like, you know, are you expecting the press to make their own press statements based on it? But you need independent experts in there, independent ones, to have taken all the footage and been over it and verified it. Not Lukes and me's and people on the internet, but independent, you know, proper independent experts, that not people that you've paid and your friends that are from the connections that you've got. And I don't see if that's the big crux of it. Why aren't you fucking doing it? Why isn't it done?
About it's not when I'm saying a media conference, I'm not talking go in front of the media and say here's Nicola Bulley, but it's more of a closed.
Big ups Unity Calling. You've been writing it down and posted it to Twitter. Big ups. Like, there are some people on Twitter who've got sharper minds than me in terms of, like, you know, I don't seem to be able to hold together timelines very well unless it's written out. And there are people on there, and like, I want to shout out people like Mickey as well, and like others that, you know, do a good job of like keeping track of all this. Like, yeah.
Conference to say, don't knock me, gentlemen, because I am not wrong here.
Peter, one second, mate. So I've had it a few times now. Someone said, I don't know if you didn't explain it before, but I've seen it a few times. You said you would explain why you thought she was there all along in the river.
No, in what part? When I say what? When I thought
no,
she
like,
was...
I suppose from the 27th to the 19th. Do you believe that she was in the river the whole time?
Yes, I do. I believe she was in the river.
Right.
I don't believe that Nicola was taken out or murdered somewhere or whatever. Obviously, she had injuries. I know. I'm not a coroner. I'm not gonna doctor. I'm not gonna get into that. It's not my area. But I think Nicola got into the river between the bench and where I located her at some stage. Whether she was, whether she fell down the bank, I personally don't believe that. Whether she was chased, whether she was pushed, or whatever, she's gone in the river between the bench and where she was found, where I found her, not where she was found eventually, and she's laid on the bottom there. And I think that, well, I know that eventually she's floated up, and the police have even agreed in the report that on the 19th, it was the high spring tide, and the water has flooded up over the weir. And this is what I said to my wife, but I never said that. I think she's floated up and just drifted down. But the water has come gushing over the top of the weir. It's flooded the river to the bench. Real water levels have risen. It's kicked Nicola up off the bottom because she's become buoyant. And then it's carried her down the stream. And that's why the police knew. The police knew all along that she was there and she was going to get carried over the weir. I know that. They knew she was there and she was going to get carried over the weir, and then she would get carried down, then she was found. And that's the way she was found, because the police...
Big ups Jojo Cretin. Thank you very much for the gifted tier sub. This is really, like, that's the big statement right at the end. Like, you know, he's actually finally making it, is the police knew she was there. I mean, we could factor this in, and like, I've got all my negative opinions of Peter Faulding, but if the truth is that the police knew she was there and covered it up so that they could just allow her to float up, like, let's not waste resources, let's just allow her to fill up with gas and float, and then we'll fish her out later. And they bring in Peter Faulding. Bear in mind, he's explained it during this interview, they bring him in a few days after, you know, to recover the dead body, rather than to be the expert that finds them alive and stops them from drowning and does the CPR. Like, so they allowed him to have a look, and he didn't. Like, why didn't they let him then fish her out as a dead body? Like, because they'd already searched and couldn't find her. Like, but in the other case with that other lad, the police didn't want him on the scene. They argued about it, but he went in and found him. And then another case, they did want him on the scene. They were happy to have him in there and help him. Like, just makes a bit, confuses me a little bit still. But yeah, he's saying the police knew. Like, Peter's line on this is that the police went in and dived. They were inept and didn't do their jobs properly. So Nicola was in that river the whole fucking time. He's not sort of saying that, is he though? But that when he went in and dived, she was definitely there. The police had probably missed her, he's saying. And so to cover it up that they were stupid and missed her, they just didn't tell anyone and left her in there. And then they were waiting for this spring tide. So on spring tide, she got pushed up and floated down. And during this entire time, she was in there, nobody saw her. We've got the drone footage and all this stuff. So we will see her in that drone footage, I'm guessing, in that same place. People will be able to assess that and reassess that. And then also the sort of night of her floating and the day of, Like, I suppose it's just lucky that Jason Dean Rothwell was on the scene and that he was the one that saw her. But they did have an extensive police presence, and they were aware of this. Like, bear in mind, the police expected this to happen on a certain day and time, because they can predict when the floating will happen. You would think they would have more of an extensive police presence ready to sort of deal with that, rather than just the van and the two people that ended up fishing her out. Like, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, but okay, I see what Peter's line is here. I see what he's saying. And the reason that his hit was discounted was because they're just going to cover it up. The problem with it is, I guess, is that his ego problem police people are doing it again to him, and they've told him to naff off and it's not a hit. And he doesn't then think this is a massive cover-up and they're trying to stitch me up. And he doesn't then say, I've just done a hit, she's in there. Someone should get in there and fish her out to the public and the press. Like, he's not aghast at that and the idea that they would leave her in there and wait for her to float. He'll also wait for her to float effectively, or he'll just believe the police, even though he knows that they lie to him and discount his credibility all the time and stuff. Like, there's a bit of a problem there where I would think at that moment, if I were Peter, I would go public with my hit and question the police more heavily and say, have you really searched this? Because I think I'd be really drumming that thing, beating that drum, and not going off and messing about and doing other, rejoining the search and looking for burial sites and other stuff and loads of... Bear in mind, when he left the search, of course, what am I saying? He left and rejoined the search. You know what he did? He went and made that telly programme, didn't he? He went and did Vanished. That was on the, what was it, on like the 10th. And I'm like, during the 7th and the 8th, they would have been recording like for that programme. He left the scene of the search to do Vanished for Channel 5, and then got back on the search later and was quite happy to search extensively later, looking for deposition sites and stuff. It says it in this thing here, and like, do all the media. But he all along knew where she was and that the police were just stitching him up.
Helicopters were up the day before looking. Right. They knew. They've even said it in the report that on that day, the 19th and 20th was on.
This that he's saying now, like when you talk about the legal thing, like Peter Faulding's doing this on YouTube on Paul's channel, right? Sorry, on Luke's channel. And Luke is opening himself up to fucking massive legal problems. Like fucking massive legal problems. Like, theoretically, you could say, oh, Peter Faulding is slander libelling the Lancashire police, because he just said then they covered up the fact that she was in the river. So you could say he's slander libelling, libel slander the police. And like, if you do that on public, on the news, and you're Peter Faulding, then there's going to be trouble, isn't there? And the news won't want that, will they? Like, you can't bring someone onto Sky News to libel slander the police. He was able to say just succinctly, I think I found a hit. He wasn't to go on to say they covered it up. But here he's doing what could be considered libel slander. And Luke is sitting there like a dummy, having it on his channel. If he doesn't offer counterpoint and say, well, hang on there, Peter, that could sound like libel or slander. Like, we can't have people bashing the police, like we said, can we? So we're going to say that they correctly searched it and didn't manage to find her. So, whether she was there or not remains to be seen, or can remain in the audience's mind to question. But I cannot categorically state on my media platform, as because I'm responsible for the guest and their opinions. I'm the one broadcasting it on my show. So if anyone comes at us legally, you don't get the people suing you, Peter, for libel and slander. They come after Break the Ice YouTube for broadcasting you as a guest and saying it. I'm responsible for doing it. So Luke could get into serious trouble for this. I wonder, I'm hoping, I'm not doing the good work of recording my own. I've recorded this, obviously, but I haven't recorded this whole interview. I want to react to Peter on a body language for this interview, but I imagine this might get taken down at some point, or maybe this bit gets edited off. So I would hope that somebody out there records the whole thing and I get a look at it at some point, but it's just a hope.
It's kicked Nicola up off the bottom because she's become buoyant, and then it's carried her down the stream. And that's why the police knew. The police knew all along that she was there and she was going to get carried over the weir. I know that. They knew she was there and she was going to get carried over the weir. And
I mean, that's basically really bad, isn't it? Because you're saying they knew she was in the river and they just waited for her to float up so they could recover her. I mean, there's all sorts of problems with that. And obviously you've been slandered, libelled, or like defamed by Lancashire police yourself, you feel, but this is heavy. Like,
then she would get carried down.
Well, if he puts a disclaimer up, no, like I think Luke at this point, like he's broadcasting it, and he needs to, as the host, say this is over the line. I don't agree with these opinions as the broadcaster and host of this show. They're Peter's opinions, and like here's a counterpoint. Like that's Ofcom and broadcasting, you know, or just even legal. You know what I mean? Like if someone wants, if Pete, let's say you're Lancashire Police and you want to sue over this because he's just said that you fucking knew she was on the bottom of the river and you left her there. Like, and you want to sue someone, the person you go to sue is not YouTube and it's not Peter Faulding in this case because it's Break the Ice. It's on there. Like that's the person who created the media and put it on YouTube, and you're going to be suing. Like, I think that's the way it works anyway.
And then she was found, and that's the way she was found because the police helicopters were up the day before looking. Right. They knew. They've even said it in the report that on that day, the 19th and the 20th was the highest tides, and if she was going to pop up, that's where she was going to pop up.
Yeah.
And isn't it strange?
But no, listen, right? The difference here is that she wasn't found by the searches, but we assume that she was in the river. With like 90% certainty, we think she went in the river rather than wandered off or got kidnapped or is up a tree. Yeah. So with that, and with the projected numbers and figures and the time that she's in and the tides, if we are to find her because she's been in the river the whole time, she'd probably come up at this day and time, and that's the likely event. It's like more likely that's happened than she's like running up and down the motorway in a flying down the motorway, child locks on and I'm flying down the motorway. It's more likely she's in the river than that. So we've predicted it. And like, it doesn't mean that they knew all along. They can say, well, the police can say, we didn't know all along. It's a rough, general, quite accurate, it seems, prediction. And we weren't able to find her in the river search, which has been difficult. As you say, Peter, they're difficult, aren't they? But despite that, if she was in the river, we would expect to find her on this day. And we think she was. So there we go, we found her. But Peter's made it different. Peter has said they knew. Like, they actually knew. And they just fucking said, right, fuck it then. We don't have to do any more searches because she'll float up eventually. And that's bad.
I found her there. They denied there's a target there. And now all of a sudden, she's got washed over the weir and now she's been found. Exactly matches my story. Nothing's changed.
Well, I'm sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying that, if people troll me and accuse me of this, trying to get, I'm not about publicity, but I'm a great believer in getting the truth out there for people because it cannot ever happen again.
Well, you've clouded the truth with your actions. You've clouded the truth by not telling it when you discovered it. You've clouded the truth by withholding the evidence of the truth. You've clouded the truth by having financial interests, quite direct financial interests. It's your business to find people in rivers. It's like, quite direct financial interests. You've clouded the truth by doing extensive media interviews where you cast wild speculation in all different aspects. You've clouded the truth by doing all sorts of different kinds of searches. And you've clouded the truth by finally having a book out and using these platforms of media. Like, Luke's been selling your book for you on his channel. You're well aware. Like, you've clouded the truth by having all these different, motives for your behaviour, and finally you're now ready to speak the truth after a bit of a planned interview, and then some week before that, and then here, and then maybe a bit after Christmas as well when we take it to the Home Office. But I need to have a break at Christmas, but the truth will definitely is the most important. Let's have the truth.
Yeah.
It cannot ever happen again. And I want to make that clear. We never charged this family for nothing. It cost me.
Big up Unity calling. It would explain why Becky Smith had this hypothesis all along. We all questioned how she knew, and now we know why. Maybe, but I don't believe Peter. I don't necessarily believe that his 100% valid, accurate find at this stage. It's very convenient for him to have that. Let's say that. It's very fucking convenient. Because if he didn't have it, he would be completely crushed under the wheels of the bus, no? So now all of a sudden he's got that, and now all of a sudden he's this soldier of truth, but he hasn't been before. He's actually told me lies to my face, so I'd be careful about believing what he's saying, but it would if it were the truth. But at the same time, it wouldn't, we're going to have to go over, I guess, forensically, a review of the police behaviour before and after this event. And it doesn't mean that, operationally, yeah, Peter says this to the team. He said he sent it on the problem is, he said he sent it on a WhatsApp. So I don't know who he sent it to on the WhatsApp, but I'm assuming silver level, because he's had problems. He can't talk to the chief. The chief's never come down and talked to me. So I'm assuming silver level. Silver level have gone up to gold level. Strategy. We think this. He's done a hit. They've dived it, or they haven't dived it yet. Get and dive it, they say. Right, so get and dive it happens. The dive comes back like positive and says she's definitely down there, but we don't want to bring her up. No, that doesn't happen. So it comes back negative. They're just inept and didn't find her because she was really there, right? And then, so this is Peter's story. And then, so that goes back up the chain and they say we didn't find her in there, etc. And they're like, so they've got the operational command of Peter said she was in there. They've shown us a picture. We've dived it and she's not in there. So at what point are they like, right, cover this up? We know she's in there. They must know she's in there for this to have, like, you know, been a cover up. They must have said, we don't want to fish her out for this to have been a cover-up. So you're assuming the dive team did find her and corroborate it. Otherwise, the chain of command thing goes up and it says, we didn't find her when we did the dive. Or is it just the police divers? Like, is it not the chain of command and it's not the other people? Like, bear in mind, we're asking whether Becky Smith knew or not, essentially, and is trying to cover it up. The chain of... If they said to her that she was really there, they would have had to have found her or believed Peter's sonar to the point where it's irrefutable and then told her that she's really there. Yeah, I don't see that happening as like a chain of events. I think Peter's accusing the dive team of being ego maniacs, not so much the higher ups maybe, and it's that they dive, they find her and they say, fuck this, I'm not letting Peter have all the glory of finding her, so we're not going to pull her up. Or, because they're the ones that don't want to lose their jobs, they're the eggy ones, yeah? Or they dive, they don't find her. If they don't find her, then no one's trying to cover everything up, are they? Because they don't find her. So what can they say? How can you cover up something they didn't find? So you're assuming they did find her on that dive. But you said the dive wasn't very good and they didn't search a wide enough area, and you're saying they didn't find her. What are you saying? Do you know what I mean? What are you saying? So imagine this goes to the head of operations. Peter Faulding has said that she's in the river. She's definitely there. And we've dived it and we have found her. And the head of operations says, right, don't get her out. Leave her there. Everyone stand down from searching and just leave her there. She'll float up in a few weeks because I think it's going to be a full moon. Like, that's not going to happen, is it? Like, head of operations is going to say, dive it now and get her out of there. Like, they're not going to try and cover it up to make themselves not look... Oh, and by the way, I didn't realise it's going to make us look stupid, head of operations. She's not up there saying, oh, this makes us look stupid. Well, leave her in then. I didn't realise it was going to make us look stupid. Leave her in. That will not... Leaving her in the river will not make us look stupid when she eventually floats up after more further searches. That makes us look more stupid because we still never found her. They still look stupid because they still never found her. So looking stupid is on the table now. You can't take it off their table. So why not get her up and do the good job and thank Peter Faulding? Oh, because you can't thank Peter Faulding and you can't be seeing that Peter Faulding's helped. That's what it is. It's not just we look stupid. It's Peter Faulding made us look stupid. So don't thank Peter Faulding. And that's what it's all about. Is because they're so butthurt about Peter Faulding that they can't possibly lift Nicola Bulley out of the water and put her children's and the social media and the searches and the community. They'll just leave her in there. Okay.
Thousands of pounds in costs. Emma kindly put us up. I paid for my own hotel. I paid for my own helicopter fuel. I paid for my own, which was probably, get hundreds of pounds.
Oh, Emma got paid then? You paid for your own hotel? Or did you stop in a different hotel to Emma's farm? You paid for, or did he stop in a different place to Emma's farm than the rest of the team? That's interesting.
In helicopter fuel. Time. My time, I'm a busy person running a big company. Then you've got all my specialist team up there. And then coming back to clean all the kit has taken a day or two. It's not just a matter of turning back up and then just throwing the kit. All our kits are immaculate. It's all got to be unrolled. It's got to be blown up. Yeah. It's got to be cleaned. It's got to be repacked, reserviced before we get deployed again. So there's a lot to this. And I think this is where I just wish for people in the UK that Lancashire Police and the College of Policing could say, Peter, do you know what? Let's bury the hatchet here. Let's all get together, sit around the table, and let's work a strategy out. The way forward is how you guys can help out in the future if we get a person. Obviously, I wouldn't talk to the media, but let's work it out so we can help families across the UK. And what people don't see is every summer, I got my own life jacket charity, the Lucas Dobson Water Safety Campaign, where I fly my helicopter to schools give life jackets out of my own money to kids, primary school kids, and do water safety talks with them. You know, free of charge. I do this.
St. Peter. What they don't see is that, and what they also don't see is what you did on Huntington Life Sciences protest line, did they? But you're not going to bring that up either. We'll talk about the early retirement and the police in a minute. She didn't take early retirement. She was already due to take early retirement a year before Nicola Bulley. Like, she had finished her career and had booked her early retirement before the Nicola Bulley thing kicked off by about 6 months. So I don't think it's weird. I think what would be more interesting is the fact they chose to put her on knowing she was going to retire, thinking that this case would finish and be done before she retired, guaranteed, because she was due to or maybe it's like, we'll talk about her, positioning it a bit more, maybe on a specific episode, maybe in the future. But maybe it's like, with the police and the way they put her in as a very senior person, like maybe she's quite most senior. Due to retire means probably quite senior. Like, solid pair of hands, definitely a good job done by, maybe they wanted to, maybe it's a positive that she was due to retire in some ways, in that you could consider her one of the most senior. But yeah, so I don't worry about it like she did the case, then she got binned off. That's not what I think happened. But I'm not certain on that. Again, this is stuff I've seen on Twitter and stuff like that, rather than me having heard employment, history and stuff like that. But from what I'm led to understand, she wasn't just, finish this, now I'll retire, like, snap decision.
Off my own back on water safety, because I see so many drownings.
Oh, that's it. We were doing St. Peter, weren't we?
For nothing. It cost me thousands.
And he was talking about the costs and stuff like that, and cleaning the boats. I was going to say, with the cleaning the boats, it's interesting that he's done this whole search. He thinks he's found her. A couple of days later, he's back there, and then he's gone and he's cleaned all the boats. So there's no forensic evidence that, like, I mean, that's again, strange ideas, but God forsake it happened. Like, he went back at night time, fished her out, and then, like, put her in the van and fucked off with her. Like, you'd never know, because it's all been washed as soon as he got back. I'm not saying he did that, of course. I'm not saying that. I'm having fun and games talking about ideas, but, like, it's almost like a game of Cluedo, isn't it? But, that would be weird, wouldn't it? That would be weird. He was there with all the kit. He was on the scene. He had all the the kit and caboodle. He said there were no night searches, but we've got photographs and videos of him there at night doing the search. And he said, it's quite often night searches. So it would be weird if he was, like, so determined that she's definitely there, that he's gone down, fished her out, not told the police. Like, have we got the police's report that he definitely showed them and reported it? Yeah, we have, haven't we? Because he said they did a secret media thing that I haven't seen because it was secret. But I'd like to determine with the police, I've got to finish off their CIP report, but I'd like to determine whether he 100% definitely told them about this hit, and then they dived it accordingly. I think this is right. I think it's right, but I'm going on what Peter said and those bits of video and what I can remember, rather than the police saying it direct as well. But, like, it would be interesting if, instead, like, because he would, his ego problem with these police people, he could just remove the body and then they'd never find her, and they'd look stupid, wouldn't they? And then you could dump it in and say that you had a hit, and then you look even better and they look even more stupid. I'm not saying he would have done that. I'm not saying it, but it's just like, now you've got politics and you've got he said, she said, and you've got egos, and you've got, like, they're doing it secretly behind the scenes against me, and I'm totally innocent and I've never done anything wrong and would not do anything bad, but the police don't want me there and the police don't like me, but they're the ones that are the bad people because they're doing bad things. But they are, of course, the police. And I understand the police could be corrupt and he could be a good guy. But also, they could both be bad chuffers, or they could both be good chuffers. And, like, I'm only getting one side of it here, and I'm being a bit careful, but fucking hell.
Thousands of pounds in costs. Emma kindly put us up. I paid for my own hotel. I paid for my own helicopter fuel. I paid for my own, which was probably, I get hundreds of pounds in helicopter fuel. Time. My time.
You fucking love flying that helicopter around. Fuck off.
I'm a busy person.
You didn't have to go in a helicopter. You could have just gone in the fucking van with all the rest of them.
Big company. Then you got all my specialist team up there. And then coming back to clean all the kit has taken a day or two. It's not just a matter of turning back up and then just throwing the kit. All our kits are immaculate. It's all got to be unrolled. It's got to be blown up. Yeah. It's got to be cleaned. It's got to be repacked, reserviced before we get deployed again. So there's a lot to this, and I think this is where I just wish for people in the UK that the Lancashire Police and the College of Police are going to say, Peter, do you know what? Let's bury the hatchet here. Let's all get together, sit around the table, and let's work a strategy out. The way forward is how you guys can help out in the future if we get a person. Obviously, I wouldn't talk to the media, but let's work it out so we can help families across the UK. And what people don't see is every summer I got my own life jacket charity, the Lucas Dobson Water Safety.
What he really wants then, like I said, yeah, is he's outlined it then, is he wants to get together and make sure that he doesn't, you know, his business doing his thing is, like, he wants to be the people that goes and fishes the people out of the rivers. If anything, he wants them to create a special police force just to do that, which there already was, but he wants him to be in charge of it, and it to be, it doesn't even have to be a private company, it can be now part of the government if he's Sir Peter Faulding and can be in charge of it or something. I don't know, like, it just seems like his main aim there, like he said, was let's get together and like make sure my job is safe.
Matches my story. Nothing's changed. You know, people, because it cannot ever happen again.
Yeah.
It cannot ever happen again. And I want to make that clear. We never charged this family for nothing. It cost me thousands of pounds in costs. Emma kindly put us up. I paid for my own hotel. I paid for my own helicopter fuel. I paid for my own, which was probably, you know, I get hundreds of pounds in helicopter.
Hundreds of pounds in helicopter fuel. The man has a multi-million-dollar company, yeah, like 1.9 million pounds of turnover. Paid himself £500,000, I think, or I don't know if it's himself personally or the payments for everyone that works there. I might get that wrong. I'm not a forensic accountant, but you know, the share price and all, like, he's got a lot more money than hundreds of pounds for helicopter fuel. Like, he doesn't have to care about £300 or 1,000 or 10,000 really in the big picture. He can afford that because he's worked all his way up there to get these contracts from the government to, you know, remove protesters, and that's what's paid for it in the main. And now he gets to do this thing with the boat.
As a fuel, time, you know, my time, I'm busy.
Big ups Armchair Detractor. The Huntington Life Sciences removal has been removed from the SGI website. Well, we've recorded it 1,000,000 times, so it's not been removed from the history. And the Wayback Machine will have it. He's obviously listening. He's obviously hearing what I'm putting out, isn't he? Just check it. Our pedigree in processed removal. Yeah, it has. It's been removed. Sign. Not standing by that then. I'm surprised because it says here, carried out many major protest removal operations in the UK since 1995. This includes such high-profile cases as, and like he got it on there as a pride badge. Maybe he just realised he didn't know before, and now he knows. So he's not happy with that, and he wished he'd never done it, and he's going to quietly delete it. But quietly delete it. Yeah. Everyone needs to know the truth, of course. The most important thing is the truth, and everyone needs to know the truth. Quietly deleting things.
Person running a big company, then you've got all my specialist team up there. This is, and then coming back to clean all the kit has taken.
Big up Armchair Detractor. I know that you know I've recorded it. I'm not saying you didn't know. I'm just saying, like, thank God we did. Like, because this particular thing will be recorded as a separate video, so people won't see in this video that I recorded it unless I state it and make sure, like, you know, and they can go and check. But yeah,
day or two. It's not just a matter of turning back up and then just throwing the kit out.
I imagine Unity calling as well. I imagine this will get quite a lot of views, but like in the big picture on YouTube, it's not going to like break 1 million, is it? But I imagine in the true crime world, it's going to be ripples and waves. And it's interesting to see, you know, what Luke does with it, I guess. But I'm glad I'm not Luke, and I'm glad I'm not him. And if he gets 1 million views, great. You know, it's good for him. Like, he can go and live in the fucking Bahamas in a sports car, and do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't affect my life really. So good for him. I'm not greatly happy for him because I don't think he's a nice bloke, but like, what's good for him is good for him. Good for him, I guess. Like, fuck it. There's a lot of people out there in the world like that are doing bad things that like get to live relatively nice lives, and I just have to kind of accept it. But what's more important to me is what, like, I guess myself, my friends, like, whether we can make up. But I think, actually, I'm saying this, I think it's important that socially we try and enact social change so that good things do happen to good people, and bad things and bad people don't get away with doing bad things. So I don't know what I'm saying really, but it's been a long night. So
all our kits are immaculate. It's all got to be unrolled. It's got to be blown up.
Yeah.
It's got to be cleaned. It's got to be repacked, reserviced before we get deployed.
So you've got to hose down the boat and put it away again. I wonder if you charge us. I wonder how much when you do the invoice for the job, when you do that, they charge for hosing down the boat and putting it away again.
But again, so there's a lot to this, and I think this is where I just wish for.
And listen, I've done roofing, right, where I've turned up. I'm not the world's greatest extensive roofer. Like the people that I used to work with have done it most of their lives, and like, you know, have lived a much more tough, rugged life than I have. But like, you know, turning up at 6 a.m, it's dark, the tiles are frozen, you've got to load up the van with all the tiles you need. So that's like a labour immediately. You've got freezing hands, load up the van. And then you can get in the van with, once you put the tools on and the right stuff, you know, you get in the van and it's quite cold and you're stuffed up against the other roofers and it's smellish of it's cement. You get this cement powder like sort of gets everywhere and it's like a cement sort of smell and BO. And then you have to like listen to fucking Lewis or Isaac talking some rubbish while you drive to the petrol station, hopefully, so you can get a hot coffee, up to Juice and to load up the van with more stuff. And then you get to the job and like you're there in the cold doing the job. Like it's immediately again labour. Get those tiles off the van now and get them up on the roof, and like strip the roof, refelt it, rebatten it. You know, get the tiles on it. Like it's hard labour. Yeah, I get it. And at the end of it, do you know what? At the end of the day, you have to tidy up where you are so you don't leave it a mess. And then you get on the van and you get back to the site. You know what you have to do is you have to sweep off the van. Believe it or not, I've had to do it quite a few times. I don't fancy it because it's the end of the day and I'm fucking tired and knackered, but I've got to sweep off the van because the next day, the van needs to be like, you know, like hosing down the boat isn't some special fucking, you know, we've got this operational team and all this kit and it all has to be hosed down. Like, you have to sweep off the van. I get it. It's like a labour job. Like, chill the fuck out, Peter.
People in the UK that Lancashire Police and the College of Police.
Trisha made a private video she uploaded calling you. I'll have to have a look at it. If it's private, I won't be able to look at it, will I? I'd like to have a look at it if she's got stuff to say, yeah. I'm sure there's going to be lots of conversations to be had about this. I've made a sort of position here, but again, I'm just someone on the internet talking from my home. Like, you know, I'm not a true crimer. I'm not trying to solve a case. I'd like it if we could find the truth for Nicola, and all my work is basically watching people. This hasn't been a body language react because it's about what they're saying in my, like, you know, it's almost a mix between the react content and this Nicola Bulley stuff, but I would have to give this a pass. I'd like to give it a pass as a body language reactor. It's quite a long thing and I'd have to pick out some segments rather than do the whole thing, but I'd quite like to give it as a pass as a body language one. Big ups, Andy. Your brother's been a roofer for over 20 years, yeah. Like, all the lads that I used to work with have been roofers a lot more than me. Like, I was lucky that it was my dad's company, so I could sort of go there to, like, I need a job, Dad. Can I be a roofer for a bit? And then, like, once I'd earned enough money to become a hairdresser, I was like, fuck this, I'm off. But, like, you know, it did help me, like, and it taught me a load of things. And, like, I really respect all those people. I just couldn't hack being on, like, you know, that job the whole of my life. I just couldn't hack it. Like, maybe, you know, mentally, like I said before, I used to get bored and talk a load of shit and they would tell me, shut up talking shit all the time. But here, I can talk shit all I like. So, yeah, I need to do some body language analysis pass of it, yeah, but I forgot what I was even saying now. Yeah, I was just saying that Peter's like bigging himself up for being a... Oh, that was it. There's going to be a lot of reactions and there's going to be a lot more to play out from this. It's raised more questions than it has answered, really. He's given us a couple more pieces of information that we hadn't had before, like Paul Ansell was crying, asking them to search the sheds, and Peter told them they should search the sheds without warrants, and the police were like cross with them and stuff. He's outlined 3 specific disputes he's had, not just on this case, but on other cases where the police and him have nearly come, what I sound like, to blows. You know, you're not coming here, mate, and we're getting in the van and you can fucking, you know, show me the fucking piece of paper that says I can't be here, otherwise I'm coming on, and all this business. I think there's going to be a lot more to come out of it than they think and believe. I don't think it's going to be... I think Peter thought that it was going to be like not screwing a lid on it, because that's not exactly what he wants to do, but creating a social media narrative that controls people like whoever, True Crime Daisy and Maisie May's True Crime Chats. And I'm not dissing Vicky Marie there. I'm just like, you know, trying not to say people's names because I don't want to start making it about all the other channels. But here we can see clearly, like, Luke's just sat there like a fucking, I would say lemon, but like tomato, and let Peter do this and accepted gratefully the money. and the accolade of having all the views on YouTube. And there's quite a lot of people who are going to be like polishing these guys off. Like it's the equivalent now of, I guess, the shiners for Shannon. Like there's going to be shiners for Luke and Peter, but I'm certainly not shining for them. I don't really get a good vibe off it. So I guess I'm me and they're them, and there will be other people that are them. You know, everyone's got their own ideas, and it'll be like the whole Nicola Bulley affair where people all put their different ideas in, and you know, have to think about it. I'll tell you something else as well. I know that a lot of our audience will watch this and will watch that and the other, and I'm not angry. Like, you can go and enjoy this and think this is good. Like, you can also enjoy me and think I'm good, and like your position on the politics of like private companies in public spaces like might be different or might not care or whatever, and it doesn't really matter in the long run. Not to me, like not really in the long run to me. Like it might matter to other people and they might get well eggy about it, but I've thought, you know, I've felt like I've understood political conversations. I don't feel like I'm going to change the world politically by having my opinion. But I do think we should try and enact social change. So I go for a slightly different, like, you know, I guess I like to give to charity and talk about veganism and stuff like that, because I think maybe we can make subtle social changes in other ways. I don't think I'm going to sort of fight the grinding wheel of the state. And like, you know, who people vote for and what they think about politics and all that. Like, I'm not here to kind of do a channel about that, am I? So this episode's a funny one because I'm doing it on Twitch, knowing that I'm going to upload it to YouTube, probably to Super Chuffer, really, and thinking it doesn't really fit there and it doesn't fit here and it doesn't quite fit anywhere. It's a bit of a weird episode, this. A bit of a weird thing going on. Peter Faulding's public defence. Yeah.
Say, Peter, do you know what? Let's bury the hatchet here. Let's all get together, sit around the table, and let's work a strategy out. The way forward is how you guys can help out in the future if we get a person. Obviously, I wouldn't talk to the media, but let's work it out so we can help families across the UK.
It was from 7 months ago, sorry, Judy. The video from Trisha was 7 months ago. Well, I don't think it would be anything pertinent. Maybe it was like she was doing the reading of my... She did a reading for me a while ago. I don't know, it was 7 months ago, actually. That was like before the Nicola Bulley stuff. 7 months ago. Telling her streams to be careful of me, or like, to be fair to Trisha, with the Nicola Bulley stuff, her name came up in my chat once, and I said, fuck that, numerology, fuck that. Like, there was all these people doing spirit boxes and talking to people behind, you know, saying they'd done Nicola Bulley. I've done a tarot reading and she's told me she's in the river and stuff like this. And at the time, with the Nicola Bulley stuff, I wouldn't countenance any of that, because I felt like it was like, let's get real here. Like, there's no psychic detectives and people on spirit boxes finding Nicola Bulley. I don't care. And I didn't know who Trisha was, but somebody said she's done a good video on it, and I said, fuck that. She's not. She's a psychic person. They're all nuts. Since then, we've had like, I've been more open-minded to just the entertainment aspect of tarot. And Trisha, as a reader, seems to be quite astute and intuitive, and her readings are quite, for my opinion, interesting and accurate in different facets, with the Alan stuff, with me. Like, I've not paid her for any personal readings. I'm not suggesting anyone needs to, because that's like a bit of a step where I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna sort of, you know, people could say you're using your financial platform to support somebody who's doing tarot readings and charlatan stuff, and I'll be like, well, you know, I'm not having a political opinion on the tarot by tacitly, you know, I'm not her sponsor or anything. I'm just saying that I think she's nice. She's in our chat. I like the way she talks. I like her videos. They're entertaining. I like watching them. So since I first said that, my opinion on her is, I found an opinion on her by actually being more open-minded enough to look, rather than just been writing her off because she said numerology or tarot. So like, it's difficult if you think that she said something bad about me in the past. Maybe she did, because maybe I said something bad about her. I'm not going to be like eggy about it. So, bad entities, dope head and takes place case. Fair enough. Like, you know, she probably felt a bit like aggrieved that, like, she was probably enjoying watching my content and someone said something nice about her, and I fucking picked her out and said she was fucking bad and can fuck off because she does numerology and tarot. So she probably felt quite, like, you know, bad about it. I don't care. I don't mind. Like, honestly, I don't even, you like the tarot. Trisha's one that I think is good. But if you're not and you don't, I kind of agree with you. I think it's all a load of, like, you know, I'm not saying it's all a load of nonsense, but what I'm going to say is, let's say I had an important choice to make in my life. I'm not going to ask the tarot to make it for me and to guide my decision. I'm interested to see what the tarot reading says, and it's fun. But then I'm going to still just sort of go with the more scientific and the more, down to earth daylight thinking. But in the night time, when we're having fun and we're sitting around the dinner table after a few wines that you've had, because I don't drink, but you know what I mean, and we've had the dessert and the cheese, and someone wants to do a tarot cards, and it's like I'm up for it. I'm fun. I'm having that fun. So it's entertaining to me rather than a belief system. But for other people, they take it a bit more seriously. It's cool. But I don't care if she said something bad about me like that. I don't. It doesn't hurt me in any way. And I think, we can move through that. I'm certainly not going to pick over something she said in the past like that. Although I would do it with like Luke did it about me as well. He's done a video about me in the past that basically says he's bullying Alan and I think he's bad and I don't know who he is really. And there was a lot of weird shit there with that. So, I'll call that out and be like, that's bollocks. But people's opinions and people's stuff can change, and I don't mind. I don't.
What people don't see is every summer I got my own life jacket charity, the Lucas Dobson Water Safety Campaign, where I fly my helicopter to schools.
Well, they do see it, don't they? Just take pictures of it.
Buying life jackets. If I was a fake person, I would not be giving life jackets to schools, flying in my own time when I run.
Or you would be doing that to cover up like the guilt you feel for all the bad stuff you do and to make you look good in the public media perception.
A multi-million-pound company, and then try to help people save their life. A fake person, I would not be giving life jackets to schools, flying in my own time when I run a multi-million-pound company.
You run a multi-million-pound company, so flying in your own time is your hobby, and you're engaging in charitable donations of life jackets to schools. I think if you run a multi-million-pound company and you like flying around in your helicopter, turning up and being St. Peter and King Peter and handing out life jackets, it's actually quite fun. So why wouldn't you do that? It's a weird thing to say, I do that, therefore I am St. Peter. But there's lots of people who do nice things. And also there's lots of people who don't have £1 million and can't afford to fly their helicopter. You don't have to fly the helicopter to do that. You can just drive there. But you get the enjoyment of flying the helicopter, I get it, and you're St. Peter. So you could say that it's about public perception again, because although you don't bring it up, I do a lot of work for charity, but I don't like to talk about it. You do like to talk about it, and you've got stuff about it on websites and stuff.
Try to help people save their life.
Absolutely.
So let's have some reality here. Let's get together. Let's get together the National Search Centre and go, Peter, let's all sit around the table like we used to. Let's get rid of the ego trips and go, SGI, actually, maybe we could work with these people.
So you used to work with them, they've worked with you, and now they don't want to work with you. I've been in these situations, through employment myself and through employing people and just knowing people. And, relationships go south, and that's that then, yeah? But you want to fucking reclaim that, and you're not letting it go. It's a bit weird, and this is sick as fuck, but it casts this weird light on it where, well, you don't need me anymore, you don't want me to work for you anymore. Well, what if I don't find a body, and what if I do find a body, and what if there's a body in the boot of my trunk that I dump in the river, and then I find a body, and now what? And there's all these political reasons for finding a fucking body, and you want it back the way it was in the old days where you were around the table with them. Well, it don't seem like it's going to happen, so it looks like you're going to have to rely on the book deal and the fucking public speaking engagements and going on Sky News. But it seems like the police have soured the Sky News and the media for you by showing the pictures that you showed them, bad but blurry in some way that you said. You didn't describe exactly how bad and blurry, and telling them that they've had it checked by a third party and it didn't turn out to be anything, the blurry images or the dive. So the police have basically told the mainstream media that you're a bit of a not worth your salt, and they've sort of bought it. So now that's in jeopardy as well. It seems like everything's in jeopardy for Peter Faulding here, doesn't it? Like for me, I'm just someone on the internet talking about stuff, trying to find the truth for Nicola Bulley, because after some body language analysis that was a bit of fun. I do the body language analysis, people like it. I do it for all sorts of different characters, and we did it for Paul Ansell because it went a bit wild, and there was loads more interviews. There was Emma White, and there was all the different characters. He's now a character, and we should really do it for this. I'm sort of doing a react here instead of a body language, like I said. But I'm fortunately for me, I don't have a multi-million-pound company and assets and creditors and debtors and things to worry about when I'm making my videos. Fortunately for me, it can literally just be about what's the truth, rather than huge financial interests and charity work and helicopters. It's fucking weird, this is, isn't it? Like, this has got fucking weird, to be honest. For Luke, I feel a bit sorry for him as well. I quite often feel a bit sorry for Luke because, like, here he is naively in the middle of this, and like Peter Faulding's on his channel, and he's nailed his thing to the mast with Peter Faulding in a way, and I mean, I don't feel sorry for him because he likes Andrew Tate and he's making his own moves, top G moves, anything to get views, top G moves, you know, whatever. I don't know. What would Andrew Tate do in this situation? But it's got fucking weird. Let's just say that. It's now 1 o'clock in the morning. I haven't had my fucking dinner, and this has got so fucking weird.
Because this guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe we don't know what we're talking about with sonar, because I can tell you now, the police do not have the sonar experience that we have. They do not. They do not have the same.
Somebody said, I wish, like, if I was missing, I'd hope Peter Faulding was searching for me, not these incompetent police. That's for sure. So there you go. But no, if I was missing, I don't want Peter Faulding for me, because he's brought in to find bodies with sonar when they're definitely dead and at the bottom. Like, I'd want the fire and rescue to find me before I drowned, or while I was in the process of drowning, while I was still resuscitatable. But like, Peter Faulding's the sort of, you know, the last person you'd want to find, you in a way, isn't he? And the police don't have this special sonar, and it's all about this again, isn't it? Fucking hell.
They said in the report.
Like, wouldn't he feel so bad if the government just bought the police a load of sonar kit? Like, he can just shut up then, can't he? That would really annoy him. Like, we should do a crowdfund so that we can, like, how much is it? It's 50 grand, you said, your sonar kit. Well, we can raise that. You need the people to operate it as well, yeah, but like, the government can raise 50 grand for some sonar kit. Like, why doesn't Andrew Snowden just fucking shell out for a load of sonar kit for Lancashire and tell Peter to fuck off?
They do not, because I confirmed with Terry the other day from Marine Sonic that no police force in the UK has invested. They will not spend.
Ah, Terry from Marine Sonic. I didn't know about Terry from Marine Sonic. There's a new character. You were talking to him the other day. Terry from Marine Sonic probably really wants the government to invest 50 grand in sonar all over the country, because he can sell them 50 grand's worth of sonar kit. Terry from Marine Sonic. Terry from Marine Sonic. Was that in 1996? What? I don't know now. I don't know what the question was.
£53,000 on specialist sonar equipment. They will not. There's no budget. Let's use the people. And you can't just pick a sonar.
Oh, there's no budget.
I spent 3 years doing extensive trials with it. You can't just pick a sonar up and go, oh, there's out the box, lads. Let's go and find some. No, it doesn't happen. It takes experience. Like a surgeon, like a pilot. You know, when you learn to fly.
Oh, get off it. Like, the extensive background knowledge in policing and forensics that you then apply as you become, you know, a more specialist officer, like, that can't be just like taught overnight. No, but like, the dragging the sonar thing in the string, like, they're dragging it around with string in the, not string, cables, but in the river. You drop it down to a certain depth, you drag it around. Yeah, a bit of experience to see what you're looking at on the screen and, you know, interpret it here and there and make sure you're dragging it in the right place at the right time. But come on. Like, it's not fucking brain surgery or rocket science. It's dragging around a sonar thing on the and looking on the screen till you get a good image.
I'd done my 78 hours to become a pilot, but it doesn't.
He bought his sonar. All right, when did he buy the sonar? Yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah, can't remember. It wasn't his first thing though, was it? But like, Jesus, like, he's really fucking invested in this sonar. It makes me wonder whether he's got shares in the sonar company. Do you know what I mean? Like, but the person who can benefit from this most is whoever makes that fucking sonar, because to shut Peter up, we should just do a crowdfund for 50 grand's worth of sonar for each police force around the country. But it's not just that. We need the specialist officers who know what they're doing. Like, why don't we... Okay, Peter, why don't we just give you loads of money and you do it all? Would that make you feel better, Peter? Why don't we just create a new department of the police called the Search and Rescue Special Peter Department, and you can be Peter in charge of the Special Peter Department, and you can just do all the sonar you want. Like, fucking hell.
Mean that I was any good. I could fly it, but it doesn't mean I was experienced at all. I got the kit, I got the badge, but I've got nothing else. Anyway,
it's all about the operator as well, isn't it? Like,
it's all about the operator.
Which is the problem here, Peter, because unlike, whilst you've done some, you know, jumping out of an airplane for the paratroopers or whatever, unlike police officers who, like I say, police training isn't it's varied, and so when you get on the scene and you're doing something that's specialist, you've still got that varied background, and you haven't got like this depth of background in forensics and searching and stuff like that. You've, like you said yourself, like you're better off in the field piecing it together on the, you know, on the ground. You're not so good in the office with the strategic bit. Like you've done some courses and some things here and there, but you're not in the same league as someone who is trained as a police forensic investigator who specialises in diving, like, or sonar detection or anything like that. This is the problem: is there's no, like, as a private company, there can be no like testing prerequisite like certificate that can be. Do you know what I mean? You're a private enterprise. People can bring you in and pay you to do the searches by all means, but whether you should be in charge of the searches for the police, different thing.
So hopefully everybody, I mean, all I'll say is I am telling the truth. I've got nothing to hide, and I really appreciate everybody listening to me tonight because it means a lot to me. I'm not lying.
For you.
You obviously got things to hide because what we've just seen today is that you hid your involvement in the Huntington Life Sciences protester removal, which I've been calling at you out for a while. So you obviously do have some things to hide, don't you, Peter?
Yeah, thanks, Luke. And I'd like to thank Luke for, you know, coming down. He got to know me as a real person rather than this bloke in a, you know, sitting in a shiny suit when I was doing Nicola Bulley, but as a real person with my animals, my family, and I'm just saying I'm honest, and I don't stitch people up, I don't lie. And SGI provides...
Repeatedly stating how honest you are is not a good look if you think that you're particularly honest.
A first-class service to all of our clients with honesty and integrity, and that's what I'm known for. I'm not misleading. I've got nothing to gain by saying that was Nicola Bulley in the river. You know, if I never work...
Yes, you do. Like, what a fucking stupid thing to say. I've got nothing to gain by saying that was Nicola Bulley in the river. At what point? When? When did you say it was Nicola? You've never said, or you did say it, or what? Of course you've got something to gain.
Police again, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But I've still got clients with honesty and integrity, and that's what I'm known for. I'm not misleading. I've got nothing to gain by saying that was Nicola Bulley in the river. You know, if I never work for the police again, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But I've still got the greatest respect for police officers. I want to make that clear. If I don't work for the police again, that's fine. But we will always be there to assist the families. And if someone goes missing, and like Liam...
How are you going to afford to always be there to assist the families if you don't work for the police? Like, maybe you officially don't work for the police, you work for the government. Like, maybe you could say that. Can we question that, maybe, and push back on that? Like, it's a bit fucking weird to say this. Like, how is your multi-million-pound business going to operate if you're not going to be operating with the police?
In Liam Graham in Kent the other week, he was called. They called us to assist the family, and we went down to assist free of charge. Okay, my own.
Yeah, he must have thought I had a point. And also, he's told us today that he's got computer hackers working on, like, you know, behind the scenes friends from the police working on computer hacking. So I don't like that. I mean, obviously, there's nothing they're gonna like. They're not gonna find anything bad. I play computer games and stream and stuff, but like, obviously, I watch some pornography. So great. At some point, someone might publish pornography that I watched, but like hasn't everyone? I mean, I've got nothing to hide necessarily, but I don't like the idea that Peter has basically told us in this episode that he has. I think he was talking about his Twitter trolls, really. Probably they're trying to find their IP addresses and who they are, and I'm like public, so they don't need to do that. But they could do other weird shit, can't they? Like, Peter does this weird shit, like, so I don't like that weird shit. Like, you could almost say like he's stalking people, like getting a private former police officer to do forensic hacking. Like, you could almost say that's like weird stalking, couldn't you? So we don't do that. Peter does, and I'm someone on the internet that's critiquing him, so I worry about that, I suppose. But overall, like what the fuck, you know, it's just stuff on the internet. So,
Peter, I think that's a good place to conclude.
Yeah.
Cheers. I'll drink some of this water. It's been in front of my heater for a bit, so it's warm, tepid water, so it's not the best. But I'm having a wine after this. Cheers, Pete.
Everybody, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for all of the comments. Thank you for all the likes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chats. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you for sticking around for 202 minutes. Wow.
Wow.
I'm gonna go.
Wow.
Get myself a nice glass and chill out. Listen, everybody, like.
Well, you're going to count the monies.
This channel that has subscribed recently. You're a real.
Like, this has been like, Luke is fucking gonna like anyone that makes YouTube videos is gonna look at their stats, and this is gonna be like a huge big spike, lots of big spike in the money. It's gonna love it. Gonna love it. This is absolutely a massive boon for him. Even if it turns out that even if it comes out that Peter Faulding's involved in the placing of Nicola Bulley in the water, like later on, it won't hurt Luke necessarily too much because he's innocent. He didn't know, and like, you know, he can always sort of skirt around it. But to me, like, I see what he is, what he's doing, and who he is. I think it's easy for him to paint himself as naive and say that, oh, I didn't know, and like, I'm just trying to get some views, and Peter Faulding did an interview, but he's got his politics behind him, you know, he's got his sneaky ways, he's got, just like Peter Faulding, he's got his saying something didn't happen and removing it from the internet. So I don't like either of them, and, you know, I don't really wish him all the luck in the world, but I expect he will have a massive boon from this and will quite enjoy that. So
great bunch of people.
Yeah.
I get a lot of great comments, I get a lot of great support, and some of the comments I personally get about being an honest, decent guy. It's very humbling. I appreciate it.
Can I just say, Luke? I showed Luke the images of Nicola months ago, back in probably August.
July
was it? When?
I think you showed me. No, you told me in July.
Yeah.
And you showed me in October.
That's right. Okay, October. Yeah, whenever it was. But I showed you, and you've kept them, you know, to yourself. And again,
he hasn't got a copy of them. And he's invested in getting you on the show. And you've hooked him with those pictures. Okay, if he'd have spoken about them, you might not have come on the show. So he's probably not likely to show them and talk about them, is he? On the proviso that he's going down to your house and flying around in your helicopter with you, and you're going to come on and do an interview. And, like, you know, you've got him in your pocket with this.
The police report, I kept everything to myself. And I said in Luke's previous interview, please, you know, I'm working with the police.
Those views will be bigger than you think, because he had over 1,000 on the live and it was 2 hours long. So I predict this live will have already hit about 5,000 to 10,000 views. Like, it won't show them as quickly on YouTube, and I predict it will get upwards of 50,000 views, like, easily. Okay, no, it's just people getting views on YouTube. Like, I think in some way I'm expected to feel, oh no, angry you got some views, but it doesn't hurt me in any way. The only issue is that I would say my counter argument, my counterpoints, I would hope they get equal numbers of views, because then people aren't just seeing one side, they're seeing both sides. But I don't think they will. You know, my stuff that I say about this, I'm doing it quietly here on Twitter, like, separately, and I'll probably just upload it to YouTube straight up. But I don't think the the balance of the story, this is more sensational, it's been built up, and they've engaged a group of people with their, like, people think that Luke is a nice, honest guy and a lovely man for doing this, and like, they're blind, they're either in the same sort of political sphere and they think agreeable thoughts about some other stuff, or they're blind to it and don't pay it much mind. And, like, to me, he's not, and I kind of, I think I see him for what he is, but people are going to be people, aren't they? So that's that. I mean, I don't think in the long run, in 10 years time, Luke might be really successful and whatever. I'm not going to be thinking, what's Luke doing in 10 years time? Like, this doesn't hurt me in any way, really, so I don't really feel negative. To me, it's not nice to see, it going well for these people necessarily, but I don't think it is. I don't think number of views equals it's gone well. I think this has gone quite badly, actually, and there's going to be more questions and more problems in the future because of it. Certainly for Luke and Peter, with the legal aspect of literally saying the Lancashire police were covering it up and they knew she was in the water, that's a big one. I've talked all the way through it, so I've given my points, so I'm not going to go over them over and over and over them, but yeah.
Inquiry, I'm trying to go along with this.
To watch it one more time, I'm going to have to watch it. I don't really tend to record things like, and keep them as a big file, but I feel like some people would want to keep a copy of this because it might get deleted at some point or edited, and I want to do body language react, so I might have to watch it either a few times myself or record it and then watch it on the stream. I don't care if I give Luke 3 or 4, 5, 10 views watching it back, and I don't care if I've taken any off him tonight watching it in this format. To me, it's not a battle of the views on YouTube between me and Luke. It's about who's telling the truth about Nicola Bulley. And when people become players in the theatre, I'm not saying that because I think it's psyops or anything, but you know what I mean, like the characters I've talked about, Paul Ansell, Emma White, the other friends, the police people like Sally Riley, and they're the characters and the players in this. Peter Faulding has inserted himself in as a civilian, like I could have, or anyone could have, but in a slightly more professional capacity, inserting himself in. Now he's a player and a character in this, yeah. And now Luke has sort of become like a sub. The true crimers, the Allens and the whoever else on the true crimers, the Jizzies, they would like to be players in this sort of narratives, but they're not. They're commentators on the narrative, but they have these egos and they think they're big and they're special, so they also want to be players, so they get involved a little bit. And you can get involved maybe by doing an interview and stuff like this, and maybe be impartial, or in Luke's case definitely partisan on the side of Peter Faulding, or I don't think partisan's the right word, but like not impartial, like biased. But you can do all that stuff if you want, but really you want to be players in the narrative in some way, but you're not. You're the commentators on the narrative. Peter is now a player in the narrative. Luke is so like sidearm attached to Peter in some way, like not a player in the Nicola Bulley narrative, but a player in this narrative of whether Peter Faulding is being thrown under the bus and the position of the media and stuff like that. Luke has now got himself involved in that, embroiled in that in a way. I'm not saying he's a player, like a good player. I'm like, he's more like a pawn. Do you know what I mean? But it's interesting to see it from my perspective, because I know where I sit. I keep saying I'm a commentator. I'm on the outside above this in a way, like looking down and seeing the mess. And I'm lucky myself that people like to hear me talk about things, but like this is a fucking mess. And this hasn't solved it and made it better. This has made it 10 times worse in many ways. And the truth about Nicola is now, we've got two truths now, haven't we? We've got Peter's truth and we've got the Lancashire Police's truth. And I don't tend to buy everything from either party there. I think both parties are spinning the truth for their own benefit now. So that's not good. Because in the middle of it all, there's money and there's high connected people, and there's politics and there's reputations, but that's not Nicola Bulley in any of that in the middle of it. Like, we've gone on to something else now. Like the Nicola Bulley thing was in that room. It's like you've gone to the rave and you've gone to the main room and you're dancing at the rave in the main room, and you've gone off to the bar and you've gone in another door and you're in this other, and it's quite like the same sort of music, but like you're in the side room and it's not the main rave. This is a side room off the main rave. The main rave, the Nicola Bulley investigation and what happened to her, is in the other room. But now we're off in the Peter Faulding room having this fucking drama. And the veering into taking himself off mainstream media. I mean, he's been taken off mainstream media, hasn't he, really? From what I've inferred from what he said, is they've done that secret press conference. They've showed Peter Faulding's findings and said he's going to come out and say this and it's going to be shit. So don't go with that. Don't publish it in your newspapers because we'll probably sue you. And they've said, right, fine, yeah, Peter Faulding seems like a nut. We had him down as a bit of a nut. I don't know, I'm paraphrasing there, but it seems like he's not engaging with the mainstream. He's engaging through Luke and this platform. And so what that has happened, yeah, like I say, it's crossing the line between, it's totally unprofessional, because it's crossing the line between serious business that has a media presence and does press conferences to Peter Faulding chatting to this guy with a camera in his conservatory with his heater on. Like, it's totally unprofessional, and it drags this story. Like I said, the side room now, it drags the main player, not a main player, a side player, Peter Faulding, who has come in as a side player. Like in the cast of the theatre, you've got the main parts, Romeo and Juliet, and then you've got the supporting actors, haven't you, and players. And like Peter was supporting cast, and I don't know what Luke is, but now we're dragging it into the audience. Like Peter is now an actor that has come into the audience, and Luke is a member of the audience up on stage, so to speak. Like that line has been blurred between the two. So like this is, like I say, it's side room stuff. It's like a spin-off series from, it's not main player stuff, but it's a weird side room to go down, and I don't like any of it, and I don't like any of them. That's my judgment on that. I wouldn't trust any of them as far as I could throw a super chat at them for a question. And like, mashallah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, let's just hope good things happen to good people and truth outs, because I don't feel this has served Nicola Bulley's truth necessarily, and that's a shame.
To make sure that we get the facts out, and that's what I'll always try to do. I want to work alongside the police, as I have done for many years, since 1999 and pre that anyway. I don't want to go against the police. I've got no intentions. I've got no hate for Lancashire Police. Whatever
And
they
people would say to you, yeah, but the truth is she was there, wasn't she? He made the hit. Isn't that serving the truth? Show me the evidence. Serve the truth.
think about me, but I would love to have a meeting with them to sit around a table and say, let's sort this problem out, because it's not fair picking on the little man. Let's all sit round and have a coffee and have a chat. And let's be nice to people, and the public would gain.
And it's interesting as well, like you were saying about Jizzy, and you didn't, lost respect for her. When I first watched Jizzy, my problem with her was that she was reading the news, and I can read the news. I don't need you to read it for me. I don't think it's necessarily well researched and good quality content. It's sort of a lot of true crime is like this, though. Like, here's something in the news for today. This is our episode for today. Let's read it out, and there you go. Like, true crime news, done. It's a sort of service, a sort of media aggregation service. But I don't really watch it myself for content. I watch I watch the psychological content. I watch the deep dives and the the interesting documentaries. I don't want someone to read the news to me. I didn't care for it, and so that's my opinion on that. But it doesn't. So what? But the thing when she got leaked the thing, right? So I could see why she's got numbers and views reading the true crime news. Fair enough. But when she did the numbers and the CCTV, I felt like one of these players, Paul Ansell or his friend or someone, had infected into social media narrative. And this is the same thing here. Peter Faulding is effectively he's with Paul Ansell, Team Ansell. He was crying in the thing with him about the shed, remember? And he's now gone to a smaller social media person, smaller than Jizzy this time, but much more local and manipulatable. And you can obviously see how Luke is just sucking him off and polishing his head, yeah? And it's kind of slimy to watch, isn't it? If you all worked in the supermarket and he was the manager and Luke was doing this, you'd be like, you're sucking up to the manager. You fucking suck up. Do you know what I mean? But it's benefiting Luke and it's all that. Okay, I get it. But it's this. The problem is it's come from this way. If Luke had been able to secure an interesting interview, that would be one thing. But Peter's saying, I've heard you were interested in doing an interview with me. Maybe I'll come and do an interview with you, Mr. Luke. That's another, isn't it? So it's Paul Ansell and people feeding to Jizzy, apparently, this video. It's Peter feeding to Luke this exclusive, and so it's coming from those supporting cast players, or maybe main players in the terms of Paul Ansell, and filtering into the social media as narrative and conversation. And yeah, it's that blurring of the lines, like I said, between the positions, the professionalism, and the actual players that I find very strange.
So much more respect.
No, I'm planning to finish soon. I want to go and eat my dinner, and we are actually come to the end of this now. There's only 30 seconds left, so.
From the police, with leaders who actually lead from the front and go, maybe we might have got it wrong. Maybe we got this wrong. We probably did, but we're sorry. And maybe.
What you want is never going to happen, is it? Because they've done the inquest. They've done the COP report. And the COP report threw you under the bus. And unless you come public with these pictures and there is a massive, unless it is shown publicly that they are wrong, you can't expect them to want to come out and publicly state that they're wrong, can you? You can't hold a gun to their head and sort of hold them to ransom and say, I will never show these pictures, but I know I've got these pictures and you're wrong and I've got them. And this is they'll just say, shut up. It's time to show your hand. That's what it is. It's time to, sorry, there's a certain person that's going to really enjoy that analogy, isn't it? But it's time to show your hand.
The report should have been published slightly different, hopefully, and we can all go forward. I want to continue what I do, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows we have had our busiest year ever on turnover. SGI are an
on turnover, finances,
extremely busy team. We do a lot more than underwater search and land.
I know you do.
And search, so this hasn't affected us in any way. We've become a lot busier anyway. So,
really, this hasn't affected you financially in any way negatively? Fair enough. I just take him at his word for that. His march goes on in the other avenues of his work. Maybe there's a lot more protesting. Well, there is a lot more protesting going on at the moment about climate change and stuff. So, maybe he doesn't care so much if he doesn't have to go. And I don't care. We do a lot of turnover, but he does care because he wants to save the families from the hurt of not knowing where their dead loved ones are by finding the dead bodies. So, there is that. Remember, we've I mean, this is right at the end now, so it feels like this is a big point that I've learned today as well. Is that it's not really about Peter Faulding search and rescue. I'm lost, and he's going to find my child for me, and I'm glad that you've got the home safe. It's about Peter Faulding. They can't find them. They're dead at the bottom. Come and fish them out. Like, it's about body retrieval, and it doesn't sound so glamorous when you say it like that. And of course, it's an important job for the families and respect and all that, and for the families. But it's body retrieval that he's into.
Onwards and upwards. And if you're there, follow me on my Peter Faulding author page or my Specialist Group International, or my Twitter feed.
Where you will just get pictures of my animals and nothing of any, bit of media PR stuff about my book and pictures of my animals and a little slush just to make me look good.
And you'll see what we really do. But Luke, thanks for everything.
No problem, mate. Thank you.
And good night, everybody. And but what I was going to say, Luke, I'm going to start my own channel up called Break the Glass against you. No.
Okay, I'm gonna start my own search and rescue team, and I'll shave my head. Yeah.
Good man. Yeah, I know.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope that's answered at least a few things that are on your mind. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope that's answered my head. Yeah.
Good man. Yeah, I know.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope that's answered at least a few things that are on your mind. Yeah, again, thanks to the moderators. Thanks for all of the interaction. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to end this with everyone have a nice run up to Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish you all a peaceful Christmas and spend time with your family. And thanks to all. Thank you very much. Good night.
Peace out.
Yeah, bye. This is media management PR by people who are better at fishing people out of rivers when they're dead than they are at managing their media PR profile, in my opinion. This is amateur hour, media hour, and I'm not super special. I've got a spot that I picked, and I'm on the internet talking through my computer. But I've managed to sort of gauge and understand the levels through my limited experience in working in the media and having done an HNC or an HND or whatever it was back then. I'm not saying I'm special, but I can see this. This is media public PR management by the not so rich and famous. It's not very good level quality, is it? Like, when you look at the big picture, like I zoomed it in to give, because they've got too much headroom on both of these. It's profile, so it's not landscape, it's profile, but there's the two of them. I know it's silly stuff, but he's got the blinds behind him, and you've got the Christmas tree, and you've got all the headroom, and you both look a bit weird. Both of you being lit from underneath like this, especially Peter. He looks strongly, brightly lit in the face, and it almost gives him like a horror movie, sort of look, lit from underneath. Luke looks like he's like in a sauna. I think Luke, it's not heat and sunburn. I think it's flushed with like blushing blood, flushed with blood the whole time.
Anti-freeze snow remover.
At the amount of people that are in the live, the money coming in, and like the anxiety it's giving him to be doing it in the first place, because he's not, I'm fortunate enough that I've dealt with the public a long time over my life, and I'm capable of just rising to the occasion and dealing with the public. Yeah, but I don't know what Luke's done necessarily in his life that, like, he feels like this is quite a big moment for him, and it seems he's quite overawed by it in some ways. Do you know what I mean? He sort of sat there quietly a lot. So the reason I'm saying this, and I'm not just trying to be mean, is that I think it's amateur hour media time, and I think that Peter is being pushed toward this. I think he would have done better. Should I say this or not? Because I don't want him to get ideas, but there are professional media PR companies that can deal with your shit, and you don't have to use people like Luke. I think that was a mistake by Peter. And even if the professional media team are suggesting Luke, I think you should have seen that it was still a mistake. And then, Luke's by the by, come and go. Luke's irrelevant apart from Peter being on his channel, yeah? So anything else about Luke, irrelevant. But Peter and the Luke stuff, is about Peter on the, So the, I think Peter's made a mistake by not creating a more professional media product. I could have done that. I know I'm blowing my own trumpet a little bit, but I've actually legitimately gone out and filmed stuff for people who've paid me to do little adverts for their businesses and stuff like that. You see it all the time. There's millions of people doing it. people can do it on their phones these days. I'm not saying I'm special, but like this is not that. Like this looks bad. Like the look of it is bad. It's very amateur hour. So I think that like he walked. Yeah, of course he's used Luke. He's walked all over him. He was once bitten, twice shying away by the GB News giving him some pushback and stuff like that. Maybe, but he really wanted to be on. Like he was where he wanted to be as an advisor on Great Britain news and. You know, on the getting towards the mainstream, selling a book. Like you don't write a book and do a media press thing for your book if you just fancy the quiet life, do you? No, he was getting to where he wanted to be. So this seems like an extraordinarily weird step down, like total weird step down. And now it's been explained by him because now I can understand that the press were briefed 2 weeks ago that he was going to come out and say this, and this is what he's going to. And he said it here, didn't he? They had a secret. Non-disclosure press briefing where they showed the blurry pictures and said I was wrong. Well, now I can understand why he's doing this, but I still think you could have handled this a million times better with better public relations agencies using better media quality people. Like even if like even the interview itself is that more so, I suppose. The interview's that because somebody was obviously there. Like Luke's not filming that interview, is he? With all his technology and understanding of cameras. And like, look at if he was, he wouldn't set up his shot here like this. So I don't think Luke was filming that, or maybe he was because it was blown in the background. I think they brought in a videographer, you can call someone up and you can bring them in. And like Luke said, he edited it as well, didn't he? But I don't know about Luke's ability to edit that, or whether he sat in the room with someone who edited it with him. You know what I mean? Because like this shows an ineptitude in terms of media production. To me as well, I want to draw the one parallel, but it's fucked this. Because I don't want this on Super Chuffer, because we're talking about another content creator with a channel here, and I don't want to be this on Super Chuffer. This is part of the Nicola Bulley stuff though, so it belongs on Super Chuffer. I'm going to drop it on Battery Exhausted, and I'm probably going to tag it and link to it via Super Chuffer, but I'll probably just upload it to Battery Exhausted instead. How about that? Because like, it's just where I feel more safe about it, more comfortable with it. But Peter looks evil, and Luke looks like junior armchair detective. Out of his depth. And this is all about public image media manipulation through the social media, nonetheless, isn't it? It says 5,000 views, streamed 6 hours ago. Yeah, I'll expect this will hit like a bunch of people, but the people it will hit is the people that still care about the Nicola Bulley case on social media that do true crime. Like, it's not going to hit the wide mainstream media that, like, it seems Peter's lost his voice in that way, and that's going to really hurt him. If he's going to take this to the Home Office, like, I don't think he said he didn't want a public thing, didn't he? That was like a private legal thing he wanted to do. But I feel like Peter is losing his grip on his business, or this aspect of his business, and he's fighting for his public perception in the social media, and he's lost his sort of mouthpiece on the mainstream media, and he's telling us it's not going to hurt him financially, but he can go, turn to the protest removal then and just disappear into nothingness. But I don't think he wants that. I think it's hurting his ego. I said a battle of egos. And of course, you can't have a battle of egos if you don't have an ego. That's one of the weird things about those ego battles, is when people start throwing their ego around. If you engage your ego, then it starts to go wrong because it's a battle of egos. But if you sort of disengage your ego, then they've got nothing to fight against, because it's ego versus nothing. And I've got nothing to... I don't care. I don't mind. I literally don't. So enjoy your ego trip, and I'm just going to get on. Like, the battle of the egos, though, implies that you've got one too, and you're battling it out. So I think Peter has got his own ego and his opinion of himself, and probably doesn't like someone like me who's woke, saying bad things about him on the internet, calling him out for his bollocks. He could 100% have his own channel. He didn't need Luke at all. Yeah, there's no need to utilise Luke in this way, except of course it buffers him, because number one, he's not he's not legally liable because it's Luke's channel. So there's that. And number two, he's picked someone who he thinks, number one, represents his own politics a little bit with the, he's got that the anti-woke thing. And number two, it's like, a naive everyman, like a normal person. So it's me and you, and we're normal people. And Luke can be blinded by my mansion and tell you I'm a lovely guy. Like, if I'm on here telling you I'm a lovely guy, Peter Faulding Inc. wants to do a video. Hello, I'm Peter Faulding. Have you seen my llamas? I'm a lovely guy. He's been doing that and it's not really been working. Now he's got Luke telling you he's a lovely guy, and everyone thinks Luke's right and he's a lovely guy, and, you know, we're all going to lovely. But, like, they're a bit naive to be thinking and doing that. Like, Luke's naive, not necessarily lovely. I think this all started with Peter Faulding. They thought he was like certain aspects of the people who followed the case. They thought he was getting thrown under the bus, and Luke's like come to his defence and giving him a platform to defend himself. And like, I don't think they understand, like I said, the way this works the other way around. Or maybe they do and they don't care. Yeah, it's just stuff that's happening in the Nicola Bulley case, really, isn't it? Like, it's not really related, like I said, it's side room stuff. It's not really related to the main crux of the Nicola Bulley case, unless he's put her in the river or fished her out and took her away and then brought her back or something like that. The problem with it is that it's all stuff that's been covered already. Like, I'm late to get through the COP report, but I'm sure, like you said, in the COP report, I'm following it up. The problems he threw in today as well, the curveball was, I sat through all their questions, and then right at the end I said, and boom, here's a picture of her in the river, so do what you want with that, fuck your inquest. And they're like, hang on, we're doing the COP report, and right at the end you want to give us this picture. So then 2 weeks before the report comes out, they've done a press conference to say, Peter's gone a bit like off the reservation. He never mentioned this picture to us before, but now we've got this fucking picture that we're dealing with. Or maybe he did mention the picture and we tried to cover it up, but now we've got it and we're trying to show the press that it's nothing. And Peter didn't agree with that press conference in some way, but won't show his own picture. A message for Peter Faulding, we stand with you. A message for him from Luke. And then after that, Peter Faulding's obviously got word that Luke said this somehow from a 3,000 viewed video, and contacted Luke and said, do you want to do an interview? And Luke's then said, fuck yeah, I will. And, you know, the great Peter the Great has spoken, it says. Peter the Goat, Peter the Great. Like, literally, he's done a thumbnail called Peter the Great has spoken. Like, can you get any more up his bum?
Morning, everybody. Me again, in the same old hat. Bit hungover today, but self-inflicted. I just wanted to let people know regards to the Peter Faulding coming on the show situation, getting him to come and talk to us, doing some kind of interview kind of thing. If anybody was on the live the other night, you will know that Peter Faulding, halfway through, just turned up. Grass is being cut at the moment, it smells beautiful. Anyway, Peter Faulding turned up in the chat, and a lot of people were saying, it's not Peter Faulding, it's a troll, blah, 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 blah. I checked out his socials, and I actually wrote a message on his official Facebook page, like his actual public figure kind of Facebook page.
Anyway, so it was in a live, so he's got lives, he's deleted some of them, but it was in one of these Nicola Bulley ones. I mean, I'm not going to look through these now, but it's very quick, wasn't it? Look, doing these lives about Nicola Bulley, 2 of these, and then boom, I'm at Peter Faulding's house. So that's how it's happened then, apparently. Peter Faulding, can we get Peter Faulding on the channel? What would you ask? Maybe it's that one, because it says his name in it. But apparently Peter Faulding has turned up to a live stream by a YouTuber who at the time was pulling very minimal numbers, like, you know, a murmur of numbers, like most of us do at the start. Not dissing him for that, but it's fucking weird, isn't it? And it was the one, like, he's doing this with the towels.
How to open your car.
Like, he's got the towels on him, behind him. It's this stuff with the towels that, like, it's this sort of live stream. So again, for Peter Faulding to be like, yeah, I'll come on your show, like, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
What is going on?
Mind you, we weren't all asking Peter Faulding to come on our shows. Like, I haven't tried to get him to come on the show. Andy does all the other fucking media that I've ever, like, every other piece of media I've seen, like, the GB News, The Sun, the Daily Mail, like, all that media huddle. Like, he's quite apt, he's quite up from the media, so maybe he would do it if you just asked him. So maybe you just asked him. I don't know. All right, balancing it in the bowl. Got the towels up.
Hello there. Yes. I've had real problems going live here. It's not really my thing.
So why would Peter want to come and join your show? Like, It's weird, but apparently Peter Faulding was watching this or a live like this and commented, and that's where we've gone on from. It's on his channel, isn't it? So what? No, I can't be asked to go through this forensically, like I said, and body language of the Peter Faulding interview that we've just done. I suppose that comes in, the original interview and this one more than the original interview, because this has got more to show us because it's not heavily edited. I could do a body language analysis on that, but I don't feel motivated to, because I've just done my sort of personal analysis on it, and I don't want to get petty and personal with other channels through the Super Chuffer work. Definitely don't. If you want to have a laugh at some lolcows and we want to talk, stupid Alan and angry Alan, and have a laugh at other lolcows on the internet, we do that on Battery Exhausted. Yeah, absolutely, it's a load of fun. But here on Super Chuffer channel, that's not what people come here for, and I'm certainly not going to get drawn into, because politically, if Peter's been able to look at this and see this, has he not been able to look at my channel and see me? And don't I have a completely opposing political view? And I'm the woke people that he has said he doesn't like. So I don't want to get dragged into this woke versus liberal political. You've clearly heard from my analysis of it today that politics comes into it. I wouldn't have this view about privatisation of public services if I didn't understand any sort of politics. So it feels like I'm their enemy by nature of who I am, and they've been aware of me before I was aware of them. I mean, I've been aware of Peter Faulding, but I've never done any big episodes on him, and I didn't know his past and his history and all this stuff before now, did I, until this all come up. Do you know what I mean? My episodes about, let me just check that as well. My episodes about Nick. No, I've never done Peter Faulding on my episodes. I've never thrown him under the bus on my channel. Super Chuffer. Nor on Battery Exhausted, mind you. Obviously, I have done the Mumsnet files now, haven't I? But the live streams have not featured Peter Faulding. The body language analysis. They have featured Emma, and they have featured Paul Ansell, and he's on Team Paul Ansell. And Emma called him, and he stayed at her house. So maybe he's watched this stuff that I've done about Emma and Paul. Maybe that. Because I'm thinking, if he's seen what Luke's done and he's watching live streams about the Nicola Bulley case, okay, it said his name in it, but if he's watching that, this one's got a picture of him, the call-in. He's on the thumbnail because it's it's Paul and Peter on the riverbank. So he's in the thumbnail on that one. Maybe he's been aware of social media, because I don't know what he watches and doesn't watch. I don't assume he doesn't watch this. I don't assume he does watch this, but now I'm to think maybe he watched some of this, because if he's watching Luke, and he's obviously not thought, I'll go on Scott's channel, has he? He's thought, fuck Scott, look, fuck what he's saying and what he's doing, fuck him, surely. I'm not saying Peter's got a vendetta against me or anything. I'm just saying, if we're checking out channels that are talking about Nicola Bulley and deciding who we're going to talk to on YouTube, there's only a small handful of people that are actually committed to doing that, really. And Luke wasn't definitely that committed to it, but he was doing it. He's one of there's a small handful of people who have done consistent Nicola Bulley content, amongst other stuff, but you'd include the people like Vicky Marie, Eddie, Jizzy can count, name them, there's a list of them. There's other true crimers that did a bit and not lots, and then there's some people who don't do any, on YouTube, isn't there? So there's a small group of people that you're looking into in the social media sphere, if you're Peter Faulding, whether you're watching it or just deciding to talk with them or whatever. And Luke, I suppose, comes up as a periphery. You've got the bigger channels in the middle, of which I was not the biggest poppy by any means. I'm not saying that. But you've got the bigger channels in the middle. Around the periphery, you've got smaller channels. And Peter Faulding's ended up on one of those smaller periphery channels and helped it to become bigger, of course. But it seems weird that... I mean, I know he's not going to come on my channel, despite my growth through the Nicola Bulley investigation and every time I stream I knock that off. I understand that he's not going to come on my channel, because it wouldn't be softball like Luke, it would be hardball. He can still come on it. Do you know what, I might even email Peter and say, you've done this with Luke, I've obviously got different questions, give me a few days to put together a list of questions, they're going to be hardball, let me send them over, and do you want to do an interview with me? If you do, great. because you're innocent and you've got nothing to hide, here's the hardball questions, and just see whether he does it. I mean, it's going to be interesting for me because I would push back against the answers and then leave it at that. I'm not going to like do a Jeremy Paxman and be like, no, but yes, no, but yes, no, but yes. Like, I'd say, what is this about hunting and life sciences? He would answer, and I'd have thoughts, and I'd say my thoughts. Well, what about this though, and what about that? He would answer again, and then I'd have to leave it there. We can't keep arguing about it all night, but it would have at least, I think, I could offer him a hardball question session, and maybe that would have been better for his public perception, because until now I didn't have all those hardball questions to throw at him, but now I have because of the way he's done these interviews. I suppose if he'd have asked to do it on my show, I'd have investigated him a bit more, but at this point I wouldn't have known. Like, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have been able to, be mean about Peter, because I didn't know. Like, he's come out with a lot of this stuff himself. A lot of it's on his own personal media, and it's only since coming forward and doing the interview with Luke that he's hoved onto my radar. Literally, isn't it? Like, when you look at the content there, he's not on it. Like, I never had him down as a big player. He was a side character, supporting character of not much note to me. But now we're going to have like Peter Faulding episodes on Super Chuffer. I'm going to go back and watch other interviews of him, body language react on that one. There's going to have to be a bit more, like, Mark Williams Thomas made it on from The Vanished, but Peter didn't, did he? Not until now. It's weird, isn't it? Like, so theoretically, although you probably didn't like my angle on stuff, I hadn't directly thrown him under the bus myself, and now I'm sort of being forced to. But yeah, there's still the door open there for Peter to possibly come on and do a hardball question session with me, but I don't think he's going to want to, is he?